And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that brief break that we had, the brief reprieve of StarCraft, but we have returned. We just finished up casting the KSL, the Korean StarCraft League, week number 14, and now we are here with something a little bit different, something a little bit special. Welcome, everyone, to the Rice Cup. Settle down, grab a bowl, get an egg. It's beautiful. As we are here with a more amateur tournament, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Neo Humanity, we have the Red Protoss player, I believe, making his debut in the Rice Cup. It is HarOuz. HarOuz? HarOuz? I'll figure it out. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have a returning competitor. We've seen him quite a number of times here in the Rice Cups already. It is the purple Terran player. It is Tainted. Let's go, Poppy. Let's go. And I just had to very quickly set up all of the scenes and all the overlays. I was quickly tweeting, posting on Instagram, and I still need to post on Discord as well. So bear with me as I do quickly attempt to set up the Discord post as well. Oh boy, as I quickly just set some things up. Thankfully, nothing too crazy is happening in the beginnings of this game, so players are giving us a little bit of a moment. But if you're interested into what we found ourselves in, this is an amateur tournament. Typically, this is a bronze to diamond tournament, so the limit being a diamond on the NA server. But today is a special edition. Today is the last Rice Cup in a while. I believe the organizer, who is Rise in the chat, shout out to Rise, the Australian Protoss, he is going to be a little bit busy over the next couple of months. So this is typically a bi-weekly event, but for the time being, he doesn't have the free time to organize an admin, so we're going to be going on a bit of a hiatus. So I guess in celebration or in preparation for the hiatus, we have opened this up to Masters players. I believe it's up to 4.4k MMR. So we have been able to allow some more higher tier players to get involved into this tournament, and we'll see if they show themselves, and we'll see how they do. As we're getting into a TVP to begin with. Again, a massive shout out to Rise. It's so important to have these amateur tournaments in the scene to help incentivize players to improve and, you know, help cultivate the community as well and bring everyone together in a competitive sense, which is always a great thing. As back at home, we do have a Rax expand set up into a three racks from Tainted. I shouldn't be surprised we've been seeing a lot of 3 Raxes, and this is a very special variation of 3 Racks. We're going into Concussive Shell. My god, we're going to be prioritizing Marauders here instead, and this is designed to shut down any kind of initial aggressive units, whether it's Adept or Stalker, because Concussive Shell will slow them down, and these Marauders will be able to chase down whatever units do reveal themselves. So a very aggressive start here. This is revealed, and upon seeing these Marauders, HarOuz has to be very careful with these Adepts. Doesn't want to get caught out. I imagine was going to be shading in to try and scout. He's going to be picking off the building SCV. And again, he still is unaware as whether there's even a CC. This could be a one-base all-in for all he knows. Back at home, interesting. We actually don't have a Twilight Council opener or a Stargate opener. We're going for a Robo opener into very early Immortals, soon to be into very early Colossi. Okay, this is a very greedy build here from HarOuz. This can go into fast Colossi or it can lead into Disruptor drops. One or the other. Both can be successful. Oh boy. So yeah, I do kind of... I am pretty excited to see how this does turn out in the end. We do have the first Adept getting behind the mineral line and is going to be able to chip away at some of these workers, but no major damage is done so far. But he does at least confirm that there is a natural base, that we aren't going for a one base all in. Oh, as keen eyes from Tainted, he does spot the shimmer, he does go for the scan, and he shuts down the observer as well. Very nicely done. Meanwhile, the 3 Racks is getting underway. Combat shield, Concussive Shell is done, Stim is on the way, and the army is moving out across the map. What do we have at home to defend? We're going to have an Immortal. Thankfully, because HarOuz did scout the initial Marauders coming out from his opponent, he has prioritized Immortal production, so he will have additional units to defend before getting into his Colossi. We do have Extended Thermal Lance on the way. We have a Shield Battery, we have an Overcharge as well. We have the units to defend, but what about the control? Because HarOuz is going to have to focus fire these Marauders as best he can. He's going to have to trigger that overcharge as well, and we'll see if he can pull this off. Ooh, as Tainted does push on forward. He tries to bait out an overcharge, but will back off in the end. After seeing the army defensively, looks like Tainted is content to back off for now and to transition back at home, to have the factory and the starport on the way. But HarOuz is getting away with murder. What he's getting away with is a robot opener into fast Colossi. Once we get up to 2 Colossi, any kind of bio-oriented push from Tainted is gonna fall on its face. Like, there's no way for him to break a defensive Protoss player. And speaking of defensive, he's gonna be mining out these mineral patches, going for a very safe linear third base as well. And HarOuz is gonna be mainly turtling up back at home. I don't really see him being too assertive on the map until he gets a Twilight Council. Like, without Blink, without Charge, without a solid gateway force to support your Colossi, it's a pretty fragile army, so I don't really see him being too active, but we'll see. We'll see what HarOuz has in store for us. Maybe he has success with that sort of play, you know, when he does ladder, when he does compete, so we'll see. We'll see what he decides to do here. Meanwhile, back at home, oh my god. Tainted was very paranoid about a counterattack. We have 3 bunkers set up, filled to the brim with Marines and Marauders. He was, again, he was anticipating a massive counterattack from his opponent. Alas, it is not meant to be. Thankfully, Terran can just salvage these bunkers, so it's not the biggest investment, but an investment nonetheless. And it does show us the kind of mindset of Tainted, that he is more afraid than anything. And after seeing the Colossi, he should be afraid. Oh! As we're actually going to be steaming on forward. We're getting into the middle line. We're catching a lot of probes. We bypass the army entirely, and we don't have WCS Game Hard, unfortunately, but we do see 5, 6 probes going down, even a 7th towards the end. Not bad economic damage. I say not bad. It was still very gas intensive. Like, we still traded Marauders. If it was only Marines, I'd be like, okay, like, good trade. But because we threw away some of those Marauders as well, I do think that does hurt Tainted quite a bit overall when it comes to his army supply. Meanwhile, he does go for the salvage. He's setting up for his third base on location. Bold move here. Likewise, a bold move of HarOuz. He only has 1 Colossi. And he doesn't have Blink. He doesn't have Charge. Like, his army is so naked right now. He's pushing on in. He's going to force a kill on some of these buildings. But the army's turning around and there's no way out. He's trapped. Uh-oh. HarOuz in a really rough position here. He's going to be chased back. The Marines and Marauders stim on board of the ground army of our Protoss players should be going down, and we can dive on top of the Colossi. The boys are being pulled. We do have the repair on that CC, and HarOuz loses everything. Again, a very peculiar move to commit to the push. There was no reason to. I assumed, especially with this wall, that he would turtle up back at home and build up his Colossus count, build up his Disruptor count, at least wait for Stim and for Charge and +1, at least wait for the upgrades. But HarOuz, he was smelling blood in the water. He wanted to be aggressive, I guess, but the blood that he was smelling was his own. That was a very rough trade. Any kind of advantage that HarOuz had from the early game, at this point, is gone. At this point, he's thrown away his advantage. He lost 2 Immortals, he lost his Colossi, he lost a lot of his army, or he reset his gateway count, gateway army count even, and now he's going to try and collapse on this. Charge is now completed. We now have Disruptors. Novas are going to be going off. We do take down the tanks. And it looks like it is going to be Tainted's turn to overextend. He moves out with a 2-tank push, and he likewise loses everything as well, so both players are going to be trading when it comes to the armies, and we can see that HarOuz has just been doing a better job at making workers. We can see here HarOuz up 20 workers compared to Tainted. Sure, Tainted had a bit of a later third base, but he has been skipping on SCV production, and that is hurting him more than anything. On top of that, that's a planetary. It is a planetary, not an orbital, which means we're going to have less economy. We're going to have less mules to work with as well. HarOuz is just going to get further and further ahead, and with a better economy, he can sustain a better army, a larger army. Tainted, the onus is going to be on him to somehow do some counter damage. He's going to be going for a double drop across the map, which has a little potential. To be fair, he can maybe get away unnoticed, but there's a lot riding on that double drop. And yo, HarOuz, papi, he's got every single Zalnaga. He's got the north and the south covered by these zealots. He sees everything. and he sees the drop coming a mile away. But does he see it? Is the question. You know, the Zealot sees it. Oh, there we go. And Tainted is aware. Tainted is going to clean up this Zealot, take control of the Zolnaga. HarOuz repositions his army in anticipation for the drop. He knows, Bobby. He knows. As we're looking to collapse on top of this, and Tainted, he's stuck around a little bit too long. Will lose his drop. Will almost lose the second drop as well. And HarOuz is just doing everything correctly, to be honest. Like, saturating his his fourth base, getting up and diversifying his splash damage. He's got Colossi, Disruptors, and High Templar. All three forms of splash. Like, HarOuz, he knows what he's doing. He knows kind of what kind of composition he needs in the mid game. And Tainted is just one step behind, is now getting saturated on 3 bases. Would love to see a 4th thrown down momentarily. There we go. 4th CC is on the way. But Tainted has also been losing a little bit too much. He only has 2 tanks available. No mines. We're getting into some Viking production, but Vikings aren't necessary too much because we only have 1 Colossi. Here we go. The Zealots, they charge on forward. The tanks were exposed. They go down immediately. And HarOuz is going to be able to force the army back. We do have a scan. Not the best. We do have a storm. Not the best storm. As he does actually storm some of his own units there. But we have so many High Templar. Oh my god. Good focus firing on that Disruptor. It does go down without the Nova connecting. But we have 7 High Templar. Each of them with a storm. And HarOuz is going to be able to push on forward. More storms are thrown down on what little army Tainted has left. And it looks like HarOuz is going to be able to power through into the natural. Take control of the natural even as well. Storm landing, connecting with the entire army. And Tainted, his forces crumble. He has nothing left. Only a single medevac. GG gets called. HarOuz is going to be able to take game number 1. GG. Solid game there from our newcomer. I say solid game. A bit of a back and forth, to be fair. If you recall, initially, HarOuz threw away his army, threw away his Immortals and his Colossi. Oh. Threw away his Immortals, threw away his Colossi as well, and things were looking dire for him. But say awesome. As we are getting ready for our next game, and yeah, there was a bit of a back and forth there. Likewise, Tainted also threw away a lot of his army as well. As we are getting ready for game 2, I'm just gonna be making the lobby. As the players aren't too sure how to do that, it's all good. And game 2 will be taking place on Dragon Scales. I also want to see, I believe there's a Wikipedia page as well. We're getting into game 2, and I'm just double checking, make sure everything is okay, or everyone is okay. And we're going to be loading on in. That's the other thing about some of these amateur events, is that for a lot of these players, it's their first time making lobbies and inviting players and stuff like that. So there's a bit of a learning process to that. And I was just getting a little bit of information as well as to who these players are, because I'm very unfamiliar with them, and I'm pretty excited about this as well. I don't think I've casted a player from this country before, but there's a first for everyone, for everything. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Dragon Scales, we have the American Terran player representing Clan NSH. It is Tainted. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Dragon Scales, we have his opponent. We have the Protoss player currently leading the series 1-0 from the land of Algeria. It is HarOuz. HarOuz? Let's go, Papi. Let's go. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to check Sea Duckling Open, but I don't think I've casted a player from Algeria before. So yeah, pretty exciting stuff. Pretty exciting to see as we're getting into game number 2. And for some context as well, Tainted is a veteran in the Rise Cup. He did achieve 3rd place last week. He came 3rd to Roselia, and if you remember, I'm sure when Asher arrives we can reminisce about this, but Tainted should have 2-0'd Roselia. That was a close series. That was a close TVT between Tainted and Roselia, and Tainted could have made it to the grand finals. He was oh so close. So he's one of the stronger players, stronger regulars in the Rice Cup scene, in the Rice Cup community. So for him to struggle a little bit this early on is definitely surprising, and I'm excited to see maybe a new face rise up to the challenge and potentially threaten and vie for that #1 spot. Of course, we're still early on in the tournament, so we'll see if that's the case, and we can go over the bracket together a little bit later on as well, as we're still kind of, you know, squeezing into this. We're still making our way into this game, or into the series, into this tournament. Once we wrap up the series, we can take the time to go over the bracket and have a look at all the players that are getting involved. Until then, we do have a Gate Cyber Expand set up here from HarOuz, so pretty standard stuff, relatively economic. Meanwhile, Tainted is going for a Rax Expand once again. Very similar to the previous game. I wonder if he's going to be going for Concussive Shell for a second time. Yep, there we go. This seems to be his go-to opener, and yeah, I don't blame him. I do think there's a lot of power behind going for 3 racks like this, especially against a gateway heavy composition. And this time, Tainted may be having a little bit more success, as HarOuz is going not for a Robo, but a Twilight Council, hidden behind the main base. So we'll see what this is for. This could be for fast charge into an all-in. This could be for blink, or it could even be for a DT opener. I do think that Tainted had certain advantages in the previous game, and he wasn't quite able to fully make use of them, unfortunately, especially after HarOuz threw away his army. So we'll see if he can make up for that. As this time, Tainted took a faster gas. He took a much faster second gas, and he's going into a much faster factory as well. Meanwhile, it's charge. Oh, I'm getting some PTSD. Oh my god. Last week, in Rice Cup number 3, there was a player called Diego. He was a Peruvian Protoss, and he went for 8 gate charge all-ins every game, and he won the tournament. he won the entire tournament, Bobby. It was crazy. Oh. Here we go. So yeah, we'll see how this does turn out in the end, if we get a repeat of that. I mean, so far we don't have a massive gateway explosion, so it's not gonna quite be on that level. We actually are rushing into a proxy gateway and a proxy Templar Archives. Huh. Okay. I don't think I fully understand why. I don't, why is the Templar Archives proxied? I don't know. Meanwhile, the Marauders have arrived, but charge finishes up just in time. We're going to be able to kite our hearts out, but it looks like the Marauders are going to be going down. Oof. Again, the last thing that Tainted expected was charge loss to be facing him. Stalkers, he can deal with. Glaive Adepts even he can deal with, but charge loss not so much, as he does get cleaned up. An expensive loss there for Tainted, losing 3 Marauders for only a single Adept. Behind this, he's getting into his 3-1-1 setup of 2 bases. But again, because of the faster gas, because of the faster tech here, yeah, he's going to be going for a follow-up drop instead. Meanwhile, we're going to be in his face. HarOuz is rushing into his Archons, rushing into these Zealots as well. He wants to try to bust his way up the ramp. A very unorthodox push from HarOuz. A bunker is already done, is already waiting for him, so I don't know how much success he's really going to be able to find here, especially with the reduced surface area, as the wall is continuing. Oh boy. I'm concerned if HarOuz tries to push up into this. He does scout with his probe, he confirms that there's an army lying in wait. Oh boy, and yeah, HarOuz has to be very careful with how he handles the situation back at home. He's going to be taking his forge, going to be probing up quite happily. Shout out to HarOuz. Something that I have noticed so far this series is that both games, he's so on point with making probes. Like, his probe production has been so crisp. And he should be getting a third base behind this, but no, we're rushing into Storm. Oh my god. This is such an exposed Templar archives, but I guess it's not being scattered, so it's okay. Meanwhile, as Tainted sees the army and as he gets ready for the defense with a second bunker, I thought he was going for a drop, but no, he does come back with it. Okay, never mind. Interesting. The other big thing that we're missing as well, that I just noticed, no combat shields. Combat shields is not done, so these Marines and Marauders are far more squishier than they need to be. There we go, combat shields have started up. Thankfully, Tainted is keeping an eye on this. We have a third CC on the way. And Tainted is pushing out. As he pushes out, HarOuz can push in. He can either go for the army or go for the base. And it looks like he wants the army. He's looking to chase this down. Storm is now done as well for HarOuz. But he's being guided to the edge of the map. It does force a pickup. And now Tainted is going to be racing HarOuz back to his own main base. Do we have a recall? Oh. There we go. We are going to be recalling back home. Just in time to keep up with the triple drop. Well, solid feedbacks here on those medevacs, but does manage to pick up, does manage to unload here on the third base. And this third base, it's not going to get up and running, or is it? We do have a couple of Zealots here that are buying some time. We were holding on to Sim for quite some time there, and yeah, it looks like the third base will be saved as we just drop into the main. Oh my god. As we just drop up into the main base as well. Tainted doing a great job at buying time, but again, the biggest thing that I'm concerned about for Tainted is his lack of worker production. He hasn't been making SCVs. Even though he's going to get his third base up and running, he doesn't have the best economy to really sustain his production. Got a bank, don't get me wrong, but that's not... I think he's just been missing some macro cycles, and there we go. He's going to be going for a 4th CC. Should be working up towards 5 Raxes soon as well. Getting into double NG Bay production. Ooh, as HarOuz is going for a counterattack, but a little bit too soon. Templar are just lagging behind. We need those storms. Oh. I do think we're being a little bit careless with them as well. HarOuz is going to be double expanding, taking his 3rd and his 4th base as well. As he does try to force his way up this ramp. Bold move here. Storm is going to be connecting with the Marines. Oh my god. But there's not enough to support these High Templar. We did overextend, and HarOuz loses everything. This is not the first time this has happened. We saw this in game 1 with his Colossi. Likewise, HarOuz, he's just a little bit overzealous, a little bit overconfident with his armies. Has been throwing a lot away. And he's doing it again. Go back home, Papi. Go back here. You don't have to be here, Papi. Get out of here. Ah. As behind this, we're going to be taking up even further, getting saturated on these 4 bases. HarOuz doing a great job at probing and saturating his bases. What he's lacking, though, is army. He's got plenty of gateways, doesn't have a robo. Still working on his first. And again, I feel like he just shouldn't be here. I mean, what's the plan, Papi? Are we gonna try to kill him? Like, pushing up a ramp into a concave, into ghosts, into bunkers is just not gonna work out. But he wants to try anyway. And here we go. The Zealots get cleaned up. With the death of those Zealots is gonna be the death of the Archons as well. HarOuz, he needs to respect the Terran army. Solid Storm. Tainted gets his 3rd base up and running, and this has gone unscattered. Oh, maybe this is why. Maybe HarOuz thinks he's containing his opponent's 2 bases, but the 3rd is mining. So we mule hammer it quite heavily. Not like this, papi. Not like this. Now, thankfully for HarOuz, Tainted, he has been missing a couple of macro cycles himself. He does have a pretty strong army, and there is potential here for a push. Don't get me wrong, he can punish one of these fringe bases. I don't think there's enough at home to defend right now. We are lacking road rate production, we're lacking splash damage, whether it's Colossus or Disruptors. I do think the ball is in Tainted's court right now, as he does go for a scan. Does go for a second scan as well, trying to get an eye on what he's dealing with. Has seen that third Nexus. Should soon be going for a move out. Oh my god. Let's go, Papi, as Tainted is rushing into nukes. Okay. Show me the nukes, Papi. Show me the money. Oh, let's go. We do have a lot of ghosts, and hey, nukes, they can do a lot, especially if HarOuz is a little bit inattentive, especially if he is not paying attention to his mineral lines. Uh-oh. Tainted has potential. Here we go, he's going to be moving out. We are up to 8 ghosts and 40 marines. We're lacking marauders. I would love marauders right now, but we have none to our name. We go for the scans, and Tainted, he's going to be going for the EMPs. Oh, he does land a lot of EMPs, but he throws away every single ghost. Only a single ghost survives. A little bit wasteful there in the end. But he's going to be able to clean up the army. The EMPs were good enough. There was no overcharge to stop them up. At the same time, a DT drop into the main base. Chaos is being wreaked all over the place. Defensive DTs are going to be able to clean this up as well. This is a planetary, not an orbital. Oh, there is an orbital. Never mind. DTs are going to eventually be cleaned up, but we still have DTs in the main. GG gets called. The Invisible Man is just too much, and HarOuz takes the series 2-0. GG. Oh, I believe. GG, well played. Congratulations to HarOuz, as he does take the series 2-0 and move on to the next round. My condolences to Tainted. Even though he's had some solid runs in the past, he's going to be forced down to the lower bracket here in Rice Cup number 4, where he's going to have to work his way through that elimination round. And we have a lot going on, actually. Let's go. Exclamation mark, be in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves, as we have a lot to catch up on. Okay, so I haven't actually seen this myself. Quickly just update the lovely admins of what has been going on. But starting from the top, we have Roselia, who was second place in Rice Cup number 3, up against Diego, who came first. So a rematch of the finals. Roselia versus Diego. It does go Roselia's way 2-0, and Diego has to work his way through the lower bracket. Oh my god! And that means it's going to be Diego versus Tainted in the lower bracket. Wow, another rematch from last week as well. Again, Diego was the champion of Rice Cup number 3, but is now struggling a little bit in Rice Cup number 4. He's having a hard time in the rematch against Roselia. Roselia is going to be facing Ice in the second round, the Australian Protoss player. Meanwhile, ILikeTrains 2-0 to Achilles. ILikeTrains, he's another regular in this tournament. It's good to see him doing well. Meanwhile, 11 2-0 Deja Vu. 11 is an old school amateur player. He's been in competing in amateur events for many years and was a regular in Sea Duckling Open back in the day. Eventually Masters Swan Open, as 11 did promote into Masters, but because this tournament is now open to Masters players, it makes sense that 11 would now be available and would be competing in this tournament as well. Speaking of, it looks like 11 is going to be facing off against HarOuz in the next round. And there is a bit of a skill gap here. Again, because this tournament is open to Masters players, there are some Masters players that are sticking out. The big one is, of course, 11, as he is Masters 3. Likewise, Roselia also is Masters as well. So 11, Roselia are the two kind of standouts in this tournament, and we expect them to go quite far. Quite far. And it would make sense for us to follow HarOuz into his series against 11. So that is where we are going to be headed. Our Protoss player is going to have his work cut out for him in the next round, because 11 is, again, quite a powerful player in this region. In this kind of tournament series. Oh, never mind. Where's Roselia? It looks like HarOuz needs 10 minutes, which is fine. I believe there's a 15-minute walkover timer, but because HarOuz needs some time, we're going to be getting into a different series instead. We're going to be getting into Roselia versus ILikeTrains. And he really does like trains. Can confirm. Double checking, and ILikeTrains is an Australian Zerg player. Australia going up against Korea. Let's go. Let's go. So the players will just get that ready and underway. We have a little bit of time for ourselves. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna quickly do something. I have a little bit of time to myself. Fun fact, I do provide replays to both Chickenman and Dave Testa for KSL, and we just finished the KSL broadcast. I'm gonna have to quickly switch over to Korea to get those replays. I'm on it, Poppy. I'm on it. KSL 14. Okay, cool. I'm racing back to Americans. This happened last time as well. I was like in the middle of the Rice Cup, and I'm like being messaged about replays. I'm like, I didn't have the time, but didn't have the time. But this time I will. It's all good. We can pull it off. We have the APM. And yeah, hope everyone in the chat has been enjoying themselves. Hope everyone's having a good time. Again, I talked about this before, but the importance of these amateur tournaments is so important, just to like kind of bring everyone together. Not just bringing everyone together, but also just having motivation to improve as well. That was the big reason why we used to host our own amateur tournaments back in the day. Duckling Open, Masters Swan Open were for Diamond players and Masters players, and yeah, as a result, we were able to see some players actually use that as motivation to improve and get better and better. And we saw players kind of, in a way, graduate from Diamond to Masters, from Masters to M3 to M2 to M1 to eventually GM to eventually pro player as well. There's not too many like that, as not everyone can become a pro or semi-pro, but there were a couple players like Starduck, players like Oreo, Mixu, Ruichi, even in a way Arez and some of the other players that stopped at Masters 1. But regardless, we saw so many players like come through, and it's always really cool to see them excel and kind of break into that more pro scene. It's heartwarming. TT. So yeah, it just goes to show that like having the setup, the kind of stepping stones from going from one place to another to work your way up to these open tournaments with pro players can be pretty important. And it's something that's been missing for a while. Has been missing for quite some time. So shout out to Jesse, shout out to Rise for making this tournament happen. And shout out to Rise for naming it the Rice Cup because I'm just looking at a bowl of rice and I am starving. I'm starving so much, Papi. Oh, I haven't eaten today. We've just been casting. I woke up, I cast, I sleep, wake up and cast again. I'm gonna be getting some food right after this. Oh boy. But before that, we have some more matches. We have some more games. Roselia versus ILikeTrains is upon us. Let us go. And it looks like game 1 is going to be taking place on Gresvan. Gresvan will be the map of choice. We love to see it. Catching up in the chat. Hello, Legion. Happy weekend. Happy weekend, everyone. Happy weekend. Hope everyone's been having a good Saturday. The Saturday is ending here in Australia. Saturday, it's over, Bobby. It's over. Oh. Hello, Siler. Symptoms as well. For those about to ape, we salute you. Oh. And Frost redeemed a replay cast as well. I did mention it earlier, but we do have a backlog of some replays to cast. We have a Sounder replay, we have an Erebus replay, we have a Frost replay, and a Babylings replay as well. So we will get into those after the Rice Cup. I do believe we will have some time to do so. Thankfully. Algeria. Well. Oh, I'm just gonna... Oh, was I too late? Okay. Hold on. We almost started with trains being a Terran. Alright, here we go. We're going to be loading into our second series of the Rice Cup, and it is going to be a beautiful TVZ. Obviously, he's not from Victoria because no one likes our trains. Smooch. Trains underrated. Underrated. They need our validation and support. They do. Shout out to the public transport out there. But screw buses. It's all about the trains here, Poppy. It's all about the trains. And here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Gresvan. We have the South Korean Terran player representing all the weebs out there in the chat. And clan louder, it is Roselia. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Australian Zerg player representing Clan Yikers. And maybe not being from Victoria? I don't know. It is ILikeTrains. And boy, does he like trains. He really does. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Let's go. Those buses, though. As we are going to be getting into this, and oh boy, we do have a hatch gas pool opener coming out from ILikeTrains. I'm getting a little bit of flashbacks from the last edition of the Rice Cup, and if I recall correctly, I believe Trains was a very aggressive player. I do remember Ling Bane all-ins time and time again, and even Roach pushes as well. So we'll see what ILikeTrains has in store for us this time. It is going to be a standard hatch gas pool opener, nothing too crazy, nothing too fast, nothing too wild. Zinja, when did I redeem replay? Is it the hung mono one? Yes, it is a hung mono replay. See, Papi, see. We just haven't had the opportunity to cast. Like, we've just been so busy with tournament after tournament, and usually, especially after a WTL cast, like we're not set up to cast any replays. But that changes here tonight. That changes with the Rice Cup. That will change. Let's go. Let's go. As the openers are upon us again, nothing too crazy for the time being. We do have ILikeTrains just going for a hatch gas pool. Is going to be delaying their third base a little bit, so staying on a 2-base economy for quite some time, which is not too standard. So we'll see if he's just doing this for safety or if he does not intend to take a third at all. As he also doesn't pull out of gas. Is going to be staying inside that gas, so with that he can gain access to faster roaches, a faster lair, faster baneling nest for a bane bust as well. We do have options, as ILikeTrains is just going to be going for a bit of a later third base timing instead. Meanwhile, Roselia back at home, setting up defensively with a bunker. Interesting choice here. Roselia didn't SCV scout, and even though he went for a Reaper first, doesn't scout across the map either. Roselia is very paranoid. I mentioned earlier that I was getting PTSD. I remember ILikeTrains bane busting quite a lot, and it looks like Roselia is also having some PTSD and is being very defensive as a result. Ugh, not scouting whatsoever, just going for a blind bunker and keeping everything at home to defend instead. So, because of this, Roselia is going to be in the dark, but there's nothing really to scout. We can see that ILikeTrains just going for a hatch gas pool, third base. We do have a lot of gas, and this is where, like, you know, I don't want to be too pedantic, but we can see that ILikeTrains, all of this gas could have been minerals, and typically that's why you do pull out of gas at the pro level, because you don't want to be inefficient and you don't want to mine something that you're not going to be using for quite some time. So ILikeTrains has a lot of gas to work with, but I don't know if we're really going to be using it on too much here, as we're still just saturating our bases and making queens. And there we go. Looks like the Roach Warren is going to be the take of choice. Okay, so we will be using some of this banked up gas, as we're going to be getting into Roach production. And Roselia is still none the wiser. Roselia still in the dark, hasn't seen anything at all this game. Is going to be getting into a 1-1-1 and is going to get scouted by ILikeTrains. Oh boy. And this is going to be very aggressive. We have a 1-1-1 Banshee opener. We throw down 2 more Raxes behind this and an Armory. We're going for a 2-base all-in, but the Armory is spotted by the Overlord. This is going to be completely scouted by ILikeTrains, but can he piece it together? Thankfully for ILikeTrains, we're getting to roaches. Typically the response would be banelings, but roaches are a great reaction as well. These Hellbats aren't going to trade very well at all against the army of ILikeTrains, and I do think he's going to come out better out of this trade, or out of this opener. As Roselia is committed to 2-base play and ILikeTrains is going into Queen Roach production. Now it's still going to come down to the fight, it's still going to come down to the overall execution of the armies, their control, their micro. Meanwhile, ILikeTrains is going towards that lair to get into Roach speed. For the time being, ILikeTrains is going to be the defender. Here we go. We do morph in those Hellbats. We're pushing in with Banshees, but we have plenty to defend. The Roaches, the Queens, we swat this away. And a lot of respect to Roselia. He doesn't commit. A lesser player, I think, would try to force the issue and try to make this build work. But upon seeing all the roaches, Roselia, he respects it, he backs off. He knows that he cannot break the defending Zerg player. So both players kind of rolled the dice, did things blindly, and in a way, ILikeTrains came out on top. He scouted the build, to be fair, but I don't know if he knew what he scouted, to be honest. Regardless, he does respond quite beautifully. Now we got a 4th base on the way, and ILikeTrains has a bit of a lead. This 3rd base from Roselia is insanely late. This 3rd should have been thrown down minutes ago. And as a result, Roselia is stuck on a 2-base economy, and ILikeTrains is going to be able to boom in their own, as long as we're able to saturate this 3rd and get our 4th up and running. Meanwhile, I do appreciate that Roselia has some Hellions active on the map, and it looks like we're going to be setting up for a bit of a run-by. Banshees dive into the main, and even though we saw the Banshees earlier, no spores are in position. The Queens have to rotate over into the main base. The Queens, as they're being distracted, the Hellions are pushing into the natural, and the Roaches are out of position. But can we get a kill in the CC? Oh,
Game paused.
As we are going to get a bit of a pause here. It looks like we're experiencing some latency. And it's good that we're pausing now because things are about to pop off. there's a lot that's about to go down. The dominoes are about to tumble, and this is gonna get wild. So we got Banshees in the main, we got Hellions going into the natural. Oh. As we get an unpause, and here we go, we have Roaches going for a massive counterattack. The third base does get cancelled, but we have tanks to defend at the same time. The Hellions are wreaking havoc here in the natural base. The boys are being pulled to fight the Hellions. You never want to see that. And 27 drones are going to be going down. Meanwhile, the Roaches have to commit, and if they can get on top of the tank, they can make some magic happen, but it looks like they cannot. Not without Roach Speed. If we had Roach Speed for this push, then we could. But Roach Speed is still on the way, and that means that Roselia is going to defend with the bare minimum. There was so much potential with this counterattack. We did kill a base, but Roselia's ahead in workers. Roselia's getting ahead in the army as well with those tanks. This could have been the game for ILikeTrains. And to be fair, we're going to be reinforcing with these Roaches. Roach Speed just kicked in. We still don't have that much to protect these tanks, so if ILikeTrains comes in from multiple angles, we can dive on top of this army. We can shut down the tanks and then snowball from there. Meanwhile, behind this, still desperately trying to saturate our bases after losing 27 workers. The economy of ILikeTrains is in the gutter. We're going for a double drop, and not like this. Not like this, buddy. The drop has been spotted. The Roaches have also been spotted as well, so Roselia is going to be getting into position to protect his tanks. Likewise, ILikeTrains should be reacting to the drop. Should be reacting to the drop. The Queens are moving in. There we go. The drop doesn't go into the main. There we go. Drops are being pushed back for the time being. Is there enough at home to defend? We have a couple of reinforcements trickling on in, and it looks like that will be enough to deter Roselia. What's this propaganda? Light wears pants in Diablo? That's not even true. Actually not true. As the drop is, just doing some harassing damage, you do see Roselia taking their third base as well at the same time. I see Rise in the chat. I like bussies. Not like this, Buffy. Not like this. But here we go. Roselia's now focusing on their main push. And we are up to how many tanks? 5 tanks now from Roselia. There was a window earlier that ILikeTrains could have taken advantage of, but alas, that is no longer the case. There's just too much firepower here from Roselia, and ILikeTrains just cannot engage. If we had some Ravagers, then maybe we could chip away at this army and maybe make some magic happen if we caught some of these tanks. But alas, Roselia is just going to be snowballing from here. We have so many Marines available. ILikeTrains setting up a surround. But it's a slow surround with slow banelings. The flanking army goes down. The Marines stem on forward, and there is nothing left for ILikeTrains to defend. The hatchery will fall. We have a couple of Roaches remaining, but that can't really stand up against all these Marines. Behind us, we're getting our 4th on the way. Roselia looking quite powerful in this game after the run by, after the counter damage, and yeah, we're going to be going for a Doom drop into the main base as well. Shout out to ILikeTrains, as we actually do have some Roaches here in position. Will that deter the drop? The answer is nope. We go for the drop anyway. We're going to be losing some of these tanks, but overall, Roselia will take control of the main base at the same time. That's a kill, not a cancel on the 4th. And Roselia has too much. GG gets called. Roselia will take game number 1. GG. Oh. There were definitely opportunities for ILikeTrains, don't get us wrong. Definitely had some moments of, or had like some windows of opportunity, but alas, was unable to defend his mineral lines, was unable to pull off that roach counterattack as well. GG. Game 1 goes in favor of Roselia, but I want to believe that we can fight back. I want to believe that ILikeTrains has a chance to fight back in this series in Game 2 on Babylon. Let's go. As we are getting ready for our next game. Just catching up with the chat. ILikeTrains is a reference to ASDF. Oh. What is that? Oh right, it's a song! Song? Not quite, something else. I don't know. Look, this is Asher stomping around. He knows about the early memes of the early 2000s. Is there a HarOuz in this bracket? There is. We were able to cast him earlier. I'm so happy I met you guys so I can have people to hang out with when I'm in an airport with a 4 a.m. local time. Oh, not like this. LHF, we're getting into our next game. He did win the first match. Yes, we were casting HarOuz earlier today. We were going to cast him again in the next round, but he did request a break. So he's going to be playing out his series off stream for the time being. So we'll be able to maybe catch him later on. Maybe. Here comes the Roselia train. Oh. Yo. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Babylon, we have the South Korean Terran player representing all of the lovely weebs out there, all of the anime waifus, and the clan louder. It is Roselia. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Australian Zerg player representing Clan Yikers. What does he like? He likes trains. Roselia clearly dislikes trains. It's true. It's very true. Roselia has been very vocal about their dislike of public transport. They are all about the coal emissions and wants to destroy the environment. Oh god. I'm gonna back away from that one. No, Roselia, you know what? I'm sure they're fine with public transport. It's okay. Don't worry about it. As we're getting into game number 2. Oh god. And once again we have a hatch gas pool opener here from ILikeTrains. Nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy. Standard opener from the Zerg player. Meanwhile, we'll see what Roselia gets up to, because if you recall, last game we had a very defensive, very passive, very paranoid opener from Roselia. No SCV scout, we kept the Reaper at home, we went for a bunker as well. Roselia was maybe a little bit scarred from last week, last edition. It's a dead meme from 2010, there you go. 2010 memes never die, not as long as the youth of the era live. Oh, shaking my head. In 2010, I was watching StarCraft. Fun fact, I didn't get broadband internet until 2014, I think 2014. 2013, 2014 is when I got broadband internet. Before that, dial-up, it was all about the dial-up. Oh no, actually, I take that back. I want to say 2012, 2013 is when I got broadband. Before that, I was stuck on dial-up. I was stuck on like 40 kilobytes per second. Like it was a it was a dark time for live VIP, let me tell you. What I would do to download games like Steam games like Left 4 Dead and Dead Island and games of that era, Team Fortress 2, for example, Portal 1, is I would leave games downloading overnight on Steam for like a week. Like every day for a week, I'd have to leave it overnight, like for the entire night, just downloading. Because obviously I had giga slow internet. Same with watching YouTube videos, because YouTube really came into prominence like in 2010, a couple of years before that as well, I guess. But I wasn't able to watch like Wings of Liberty YouTube videos outside of downloading the videos themselves. I would have to like rip them from YouTube using you know, a website and download videos overnight so I could watch them the next morning. And that's how I would watch like Husky casts or the Game Station podcasts back with like Total Biscuits and Dodger and Jesse and all of them. That's how I would watch like some of the TB's reviews as well. Like I just had to leave everything downloading overnight. And as a result, I do have a hard drive full of like old YouTube videos that I would watch, because I would keep them because I'd have to rewatch them, because like what else am I gonna do? I can't watch anything live. It took me a long time to actually watch streaming as a result, because I didn't have the internet to watch it. I didn't have the upload speed or the download speed. Feels bad. But we may do. When I finally did get broadband, it was a breath of fresh air. I was like, oh my god, I can run, I can walk, I can see. it was like a whole new world. I was so happy. It was crazy. 2 megabytes down was insane. Oh. But alas, we're getting into our game. Once again, Roselia with a very passive start. Didn't scout at all with an SCV, didn't scout at all with a Reaper. Is staying at home instead, getting into a 3-1-1 setup. Pretty solid setup here off of 2 bases. And this time, Roselia isn't going for any kind of early Hellbat push or anything like that. We're getting to a pretty standard setup overall, outside of the fact that we still don't have a 3rd base. We're just fortifying ourselves on 2 bases here for Roselia. Meanwhile, across the map, nothing too crazy has been going on either. Hatch gas pool into a 3rd base. We're just saturating our bases as well from ILikeTrains. Odd choice here. So ILikeTrains is going to be delaying the lair, and he's going to be going for a safety Bailey nest, and he's rushing into +1 melee. Interesting. So this is very safe from the Bailey nest. It does delay the lair. What this means is that we're also going to have delayed Bailing speed as well. And we saw that last game. Like, I don't know, Bailing speed is like one of the, I feel like is one of the more important upgrades here if you want to be safe in a ZVT. The lair now does commence, but it is quite delayed here for ILikeTrains. Also, +1 melee is an interesting choice. Typically, +1 carapace is better for Lingbane because you want your Bailings to survive long enough to detonate. Like, this melee upgrade, it doesn't change how Bailings interact with your opponent's units, but +1 carapace does, as you do want more longevity with your ground army to get this around, to get your connections. So interesting that we're going for melee instead. With this, I mean, Pure Ling is going to have a better time surrounding this army, but we have 4 tanks already, my god. Like, we have such an insane army that we're going to be pushing out with. Behind this, we are going for a 3rd base, but this is very delayed. So this is a very committed push from Roselia. This has to do damage. This has to trade well. I don't want to say all in. I'll stick with committed. And here we go. The tanks are rolling on out. Be sieging up here outside of that 3rd base. Oh boy, and there's no Bailing speed. Again, because of the delayed lair, there is no Bailing speed. It looks like we're going for another surround, but once again, the Bailings are waddling on in. How good is the target firing here from Roselia? Up! Oh, not good enough, as ILikeTrains will clean this up. Unfortunately, does lose a hatchery, but did preserve his worker count and did reset the tank count. We saw Roselia trying to target fire those Bailings, but was unable to. So a good trade overall from ILikeTrains. Meanwhile, we have another drop being sent over towards the new 3rd base of our Zerg player. Queen's going to be keeping up here with the double drop, so great use of splitting up the army so far. But maybe I spoke too soon, because I assumed that some Lingbane was headed towards the 3rd base, as the drop does drop towards the 4th. Oh, so ILikeTrains is being pulled apart right now. Drones are falling left and right. We are forced to cancel, not kill that 4th. Oh my god, but we lost the mineral line. The multi-prong aggression is just too much. 13, 15 drones go down. This is game-ending damage. No, are we gonna get the hatchery? No shot. The hatchery is gonna be focused down to a single drop. Roselia is just getting out of hand here. As ILikeTrains is knocked down to a 2 base economy. Behind this, we're gonna try and go into Aspire, into Mutas, but without these gas guys, without the 5th and 6th gas, we can't really afford too many Mutas. They're quite expensive, as you can imagine. 100 gas for each Muta. ILikeTrains thankfully does have a Ling here, scouting the 3rd, and does delay the 3rd, but Roselia did more than enough damage. Does make up for the fact that the tanks were thrown away earlier, and oh boy, this next push is going to be devastating. Thankfully, we do have bailing speed, so ILikeTrains is going to have an easier time defending, but can he keep up with the drop play? Delayed pick up there from Roselia. Does lose a good chunk of Marines. See Roselia just looking to get in position. And once again, this hatchery is going to be under threat. ILikeTrains setting up a bit of a surround, but hatchery is going to be going down. Looks like we are going to be committing to the fight, though. We do focus down that base in the end, but we're going to be losing the tanks for the 2nd time. ILikeTrains drops into the main and is looking to take down another one of these hatcheries. It looks like he should be able to do so. Trades with the Lings and does focus fire on these banelings, but ooh, I'll pick up towards the end. Oh, dropping the Marines on the dropping the individual Marines on the banelings to trade out so efficiently. The hatchery does fall, and ILikeTrains is again being pulled apart. 3rd base getting up and running for Roselia. ILikeTrains just, yeah, we do see an investment into these Mutas. Mutas are going to be moving out, so they're going to be looking to hunt down whatever they can, but the macro here from Roselia is just too damn good. We have a massive line of Marines, 2 more tanks as well. Every single time ILikeTrains is barely surviving. This may be the last push. It does depend on the bailing connections, as once again the Marines are being forced off of creep, but this is going to be a good trade for Roselia. Not a single tank goes down. ILikeTrains, his army crumbles. And Roselia can stim on forward. You know, we're even taking down the rocks just to make sure we're safe. And this is just going to be a powerful performance here from Roselia, taking down base after base, stimming on forward in between the natural and the 3rd. And GG gets called in the end. Roselia will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the upper bracket finals. Oh, GG. Unfortunately, the drop play was just a little bit too much for ILikeTrains to handle. Just had a really hard time keeping up with the multi-prong aggression and splitting up his army to defend multiple places at once. I do think that ILikeTrains had the macro, had the army supply to defend. He had the tools available, but I didn't quite have the multitasking, didn't quite have the attention span to keep up with Roselia. And just like that, we have our first top 4 player, I believe. GG, well played, and we'll see if we have another update before us, as looks like we do have quite a lot going on. Let's catch up. Let us catch up as we do head on over to the bracket scene. Looking at the lower portion of the bracket, it looks like Achilles was able to take down Chadman 2-1. Shout out to Chadman. Again, he's an old school figure of the ANZ scene. Hasn't been around for a while, but it's cool to see him popping up in the chat even as well. Chadman, he used to compete in Duckling Open back in the day as well, all those years ago, back in 2017, 2018. So it's cool to see Chadman once again playing in these amateur or these online events. Hope you had a good time. Hope you had some good games. Was able to take a game off of Achilles, but wasn't able to take a series, as Achilles moves on to face Ice in the lower bracket. Meanwhile, Diego is tearing his way through the lower bracket as well. Diego takes down Deja Vu 2-0 and takes down Tainted 2-0 as well. Diego is Rice Cup number 3's champion. He's the reigning champion, so he's going to be looking to reprise his role in the finals. He's going to be looking to go for a deep run. So Diego, definitely a player to keep our eye on. Meanwhile, Roselia advances onto the upper bracket finals to face off against the winner of 11 versus HarOuz. I believe they are mid-series, so we're going to have to wait a little bit to find out what does occur in that best of 3 before we can cover that. And ILikeTrains gets knocked down to face Diego. Oh boy. A lot of updates coming in. So it looks like Diego is going to be facing ILikeTrains in a best of 3. And Ice took down Achilles 2-1 and is going to be facing off against the loser of 11 versus HarOuz. So yeah, we are kind of losing a couple players here and there. As you know, it is a double elimination tournament and players are slowly being eliminated, but we're also refining the player base as well. We're getting towards the best of the best. And personally, I think it is going to be between 11 and Roselia, but we'll see if a dark horse comes out. We'll see if Diego comes out strong or Ice comes out with an upset. I know Ice can be a really cheesy, really cheeky player. So we'll see how that all does unfold. Until then, we do have a little bit of time to ourselves. We're going to be waiting for 11 and... What's their name? We're going to be waiting for 11 and HarOuz to finish up their series. So we're going to be going on a short break. I'm going to be taking this opportunity to get some more water and stretch a little bit. So after this break, we'll have some more StarCraft. We'll have the upper bracket finals. See you then. See you then. Huh. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed those lovely duct tapes. I apologize for cutting one of them a little bit short, but we are now here in the upper bracket finals. We have some StarCraft. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, of Babylon, we have the American Zerg player. We have an old school player who's been around for a very long time, especially in the amateur tournament scene. The American Zerg representing Risen from the Ashes. It is 11. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Babylon, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player representing all the weebs, all the anime fans. Oh my god. We'll pretend we didn't see that. All the anime fans out there, and the clan louder. It is Roselia. There we go. So I do apologize for the extended break, but hopefully, or I promise, it is going to be worth it as we are continuing on in our broadcast, the upper bracket finals. The winner of this series moves on to the grand finals. The loser gets knocked down to the lower bracket finals instead. So we're nearing the end of the broadcast. Only a couple of matches ahead of us, I believe around 3. This one, lower bracket finals, and the grand finals as well. Oh boy, so we'll see how this all does unfold. Especially considering I haven't cast 11 in a long time. It has been quite some time since we had the luxury of casting. He's going to be going for a hatch gas pool. We have a bunker being thrown down as well, and 11 does spot it ahead of time. He's going to be looking to deny this with one of his workers, and the Reaper is looking to make its way across the map. No proxy, by the way, just a random bunker. Oh boy. So Roselia just being a little bit cheeky here. The first Reaper is making his way across the map. Back at home, we're getting into a Rex Expand setup. We didn't skip any kind of scout. The SCV did make its way across the map, and yeah, now this Reaper is going to be able to jump into this bunker. I don't really know how much damage it's going to do. Like, it does get extra range, but we're actually going for a Spine Crawler. Ooh, we do see 11 is overcommitting. Is overreacting. I mean, the Lings are coming on out, and it's going to be a little bit annoying to deal with this, but 2 Queens and a handful of Lings should be enough. I do think the Spine Crawler is just a little bit too much here. We do see a drone does get picked off by that Reaper. And 11 is being contained to 2 bases. We do get the salvage up, do get the cancel on the spine crawler, so it looks like 11 has correctly identified that it's just a single Reaper opener. And 11 is just going to be behind from this point. There is no third hatchery. It is insanely delayed here by the Reaper aggression of Roselia. And behind this, he is comfortably getting into a 3cc setup. The most standard of builds so far here from Roselia is going to be going into a 3cc Banshee. Could be into a 3cc Liberator as well. We'll see what is made from said Banshee and what we go for. But a pretty economic setup here from Roselia, all things considered. Pretty economic stuff. And 11 is going to have to try to play some catch up here. We're getting our link speed on the way. We're getting our third base eventually as well. But so much was delayed. And as a result, the ball is in Roselia's court. 11 is going to be going for a bit of a Overlord Scout, and he will confirm 1-on-1. He will even see the add-on swap as well. And we'll see the third CC. So he knows that his opponent's being very economic. He also knows that he has to get ready for Banshees, as the first Banshee is on the way. So pretty standard stuff here from our players. There we go. Spores are being thrown down as we speak. 11 is preparing for said Banshees. Hopefully he gets a Spore at his third base momentarily as well, as his third is looking a little bit exposed, a little bit vulnerable. Behind this, we're getting into Hellion production, getting into our Banshees as well. And everything is looking pretty straight up. Like, it's good to see. It's cool to see these two Masters players duking it out here. The upper bracket finals, and so far everything's looking like it makes sense. No one is doing anything crazy like rushing into roaches or going into a hellbat all in. Not this time, at least. Not this time. 11 is going to be able to go into that lair. As the lair is being finished up, we have our Baneling Nest as well. This is more or less lined up correctly here to get into Baneling speed. But alas, 11 hasn't quite pulled or taken additional gases quite yet. Our worker count is actually looking really low here for 11. We haven't been droning enough. We actually overmade Lings to defend against the Hellions. That means that we don't have the best saturation here at the third. Oh. But there we go. Baneling speed is on the way. From here, once we get the third saturated, we should be seeing a fourth base. We should be seeing double Evo chambers and additional gases being taken as well. So that is going to be on the horizon here for 11. As he actually takes his gases not at the natural, but at the third base instead. Interesting choice here from our Zerg player. Meanwhile, speaking of interesting, we had the Banshee, but we actually didn't move out with it. We actually haven't harassed with the Banshee at all. We're going to be waiting for the second one. We are not playing mech. We have 2 more Raxes being thrown down behind this, so yeah, Roselia just going for a more passive start. Maybe a little bit worried about a Roach bust or a Bane bust or any kind of aggression from his opponent. Maybe just waiting for a second Banshee, as he's now going to be moving out across the map. He's going to be sending the Banshees in towards the main. Meanwhile, we do have Roselia just poking in with his Hellions. Trying to find some damage wherever he can. Yeah, I mean, from here everything's been pretty chill. Like, no major pushes, no major timings. Like, it's been a pretty passive start to this game. A couple of advantages here and there, and I do think that Roselia does have a bit of a nice lead, especially with killing that Overlord as well. But we'll see how 11 can overcome that, as we're getting into multiple macro hatcheries. Fourth base on the way as well. There's 1-1 for 11, and the Banshees do dip into the main base. Ooh, Queen's not in position, the Spore isn't in position either, and a lot of drones are going down. 7 workers in total as we rotate over towards the natural. It looks like we're going to be able to clean up these Banshees. 2 Banshees for 8 workers. I do think that's an okay trade for Roselia. It's hard to say because we didn't get Cloak. Cloak wasn't researched, so not the biggest investment into those Banshees. I'm sure we would have liked a little bit more, but 8 workers isn't too bad. Not too bad at all. As Roselia is now going to be hitting a bit of a timing here with Stim at +1 and +1 defense as well. The 1-1 timing is upon us. And Roselia has so much to work with. Do we have any Banelings set up here? We only have 4 Banelings for 11. Oh, we are woefully underprepared. We do Stim on 4. The army of 11 is going to crumble. And there's, I mean, Roselia can just keep pushing from here. The army has fallen. We have 30 Lings on the way for 11, but he was, again, just so underprepared for this timing. We're at the 8-minute mark. At this point, there should have been an army for 11, and there just wasn't. We just see Roselia just establishing this position in between all the bases. We have 13 Banelings on the way. But alas, these Banelings are not going to be able to finish up in time. There we go. We still on forward. We have eyes on the Banelings. Looks like they will finish. Oh! Ooh. And one will connect. But one Baneling is not enough. As Roselia is going to be able to pick apart at any of these bases that he so chooses. And work towards that natural. Now, 11 is being given a lot of time, so he has an opportunity here to try to remax, but this third base is under threat. Here we go. Biles will be connecting on one of those tanks, but there just is not enough Ling Bane. We stim on forward. We take down the Ravagers. GG gets called, and Roselia will take game number 1. GG. A very solid, crisp build coming out from Roselia. Really solid timing as well. 11 did stumble out the gates with a late third base, with just a lot of dead workers as well. With the late third, we also did delay our drone production as well. If you remember, that all does add up over time into being a little bit behind when it comes to that timing. It is also unfortunate that 11 didn't see the push coming ahead of time. He was not ready for it. He was in the middle of droning. He only had 4 Banelings, and he threw his initial army away to the first push. If you remember, there were 4 Banelings and a handful and a bunch of Lings, and they just died immediately. Oh, just not trading too well at all. So GG, well played, well executed build by Roselia, and now we're getting ready for game number 2. And game 2 is going to be taking place on Royal Blood. 11's going to have to definitely tighten up as well. When it comes to the early game, I don't want to be too brutal, but the early game was really rough for 11. Oh. Hopefully this time we're able to get our third base up on time, and hopefully not allow Roselia to have so much control early on with that initial bunker, with that initial Reaper. I think just because it's so weird and so unorthodox, it really just threw 11 off. Oh. And here we go. We're getting into game number 2. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Royal Blood, we have the American Zurich player representing Risen from the Ashes. It is 11. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran representing Clan Louder. And currently leading this series 1-0, it is Roselia. Oh, and we have some cheese. 11 has had enough of these macro builds. You know, the mask is off, the cheese is out. We're going to be going for a gas first. Should be gas first into a sporting pool. This is a little bit odd though. It's going to be a 17-17. Yeah, so a bit of a delayed spawning pool here. A little bit delayed. I'm really curious to see what this is for. This could be either for a Bane bust, or more likely is going to be for a Roach Rush. As once the spawning pool is done, we should be seeing that Roach Warren being taken. Speaking of, there we go. We do have the drone being pulled out here as well. It looks like he wants to avoid the SCV to actually expand. Interesting. So he does sneak by. He does slip by the SCV. Does get his hatchery on location. Doesn't get disturbed. Really nice stuff here out of 11. Really cute. And the pull first has been, or the gas first has been spotted by Roselia. He knows what's going on. He knows that the natural is delayed, and Roselia can start reacting back at home. Meanwhile, we have Link Speed on the way, and we haven't pulled out a gas, so this should be for either a Baneling Nest or a Roach Warren. There it is. Roach Warren is thrown down. It's going to be a Ling Roach Rush. How many Roaches exactly? We'll see once 11 does get there. That tastes like true. As Roselia is setting up back at home, we do have a bunker on the way. Factory as well. Roselia not being slowed down with his CC timing either. And this makes sense, especially because Roselia doesn't know how committed this is. For all Roselia knows, it's just links from map control and that's it. So, yeah, be careful not to overcommit. As the links have arrived, and yeah, the roaches are going to be on the way. So we're only making 3 roaches to begin with, and I think we're only pushing out with 3 roaches because we're going to be morphing them into Ravagers. The rest of our resources are invested into this Link Speed. Oh, roaches have been confirmed by the Reaper. Very important scout out of Roselia. She does get a drone in the end. Yeah, the Ravagers are being morphed in. So the goal here is, it's kind of like a Bane bust. The Ravagers will bow down the wall, and then the Lings will flood in. That's kind of the plan in this all-in. Oh boy. But if the boys are pre-pulled, then we should be able to repair in time. A Cyclone is on the way. Again, Roselia did confirm the Roach Warren, so he knows about the all-in. There we go. Boys are being pulled as we speak. And Roselia is even looking to take his expansion. Does lower the depot wall. Oh my god. Calm down, Bobby. Calm down. The biles are upon us. SCVs are here to repair. The Lings are flooding on in. The wall does go down. Oh, the boys have to be pulled here. The biles are looking to connect, and they do connect with some of the SCVs. The army bypasses the bunker entirely. So far, good SCV control here from Roselia, but the Marines are going to be going down. We get a full surround on this army, and it looks like 11 has done more than enough damage. It looks like Roselia has nothing left. GG. And 11 puts a point on the board, fighting back here against Roselia. Oh. GG, well played. And yeah, unfortunately, 11 just wasn't taking that as seriously. There was no secondary wall. There were only 2 SCVs pulled to repair. The wall went down immediately. So, I mean, a lot of it does come down to the fact that he just didn't know how committed his opponent was. You know, he saw the Roach Warren, but that was kind of it. He didn't get to see too much else. Didn't know how committed. He didn't know if there was droning happening behind it either. Didn't know that 11 was fully all in. Now we're getting into game 3. And now it's coming back to me. It's been a while since I've cast 11, but he is a pretty cheesy player. I do remember. Pretty cheesy overall. And that's where he really does excel. That's where he does get out of control. And we'll see if he can do it again. And we'll see if he can come out on top here, because we're going all the way to the ace match. All the way to game number 3. Here we go. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner. In the bottom right-hand corner of Gress Farm, we have the American Zurich player representing Risen from the Ashes. It is 11. And in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player representing Clan Louder. It is Roselia. Struggling to defend against the cheese in game number 1. Oh, sorry, game number 2. Is looking to try and bring it back here in the ace match. I do favor Roselia in a macro game, to be honest. But we're not going to get that far. It isn't. We don't know if we're going to get that far, as 11 is going to be going for a hatch first this time. Standard opener from our Zerg player. Let's go. We are setting up for the hatch gas pool. And Roselia does confirm that. Make sure that there's no additional gases or spawning pools that were thrown down at any kind of weird timing. And you should be feeling pretty safe about all this. Feeling pretty safe and sound. Oh. And yeah, we'll kind of see where this all takes us. I'm pretty curious about. Oh my god, as we do get us around, and 11 does take down that scouting SCV. You'll have to see it. Beautifully done here by 11. But I was about to say that I'm really curious to see how 11 responds. We saw how they kind of struggled to keep up in a longer macro game, at least with Ling Bane against Roselia. I wouldn't be surprised if 11 does try to go for Roach play instead. That would make the most amount of sense here, just to be safe early on, to get into a later game, to get into 3-4 base saturation, while being safe back at home. Like, Roach Ravager isn't the most efficient army, most lava efficient army even, but because of how biles work, you can slow down pushes, you can threaten tanks as well, and any kind of major bio push off of 2 bases or 3 bases is going to have a hard time killing you. We'll see how this does go. Meanwhile, back at home, getting into our 3cc opener, into our 1-1-1. Remember, in the last game, we did see a 3cc Banshee opener coming out from Roselia. Oh. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of the same here in Game 3 as well. As the natural is going to be finishing up. And, oh no, we get a straight up 1-1-1 this time. So we're going to have a more aggressive opener coming out from our Terran player. Oh boy. With this, the 3rd CC is going to be far delayed. We may not even see it, period. And we're going to be rushing into some more tech instead. The Tech Lab Hellion production is commencing. We should be seeing an add-on switch, and oh, that is a very early Bailey nest. Remember how I was talking about how 11's a really cheesy player? Well, looks like we're setting up for a bait bust. There is literally no reason to throw down a Bailey nest this early on. A bit of an overextension from this Reaper, it will go down. Now 11 has no way of scouting other than a scan, or just yellowing his Hellions in. And 11 is making nothing but Lings. We should be going into a massive Ling Bane bust. We're cutting workers here at 29. And Roselia is none the wiser. Oh boy. Here we go. Ling speed is kicking in. We're going to be hiding the Lings here towards the top right hand corner of the map. Roselia does have Hellions, is going to have Banshees as well. We're getting into 2-2. Thankfully, it's not a 3cc opener, so he's going to have a lot of units to work with, but he still doesn't know what's coming. There we go. Banelings are on the way. Roselia in the dark. Does have the Hellions back at home, and he can kite the Ling Bane with his Hellions quite well, but because he's at home, he doesn't have a lot of room to work with. And here we go. 11 is about to reveal his hand. Hellions are looking. The Banelings have been revealed. And we're going to be just racing back towards the natural. Banelings will detonate in the mineral line, but there's not that much to kill. I don't think that was the best use of the Banelings overall, and this is going to get cleaned up. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, at least 11 did some counter damage, don't get me wrong, but he got 4 SCVs and I think 2 mules for all those Banelings, for cutting workers. That's the most important part. He cut a lot of drones to make that happen. Is now droning up quite heavily to make up for that. But I'm worried because he's up against a 2-base all-in. So I would say that 11 would be in a really rough place if he was up against a 3cc opener, but because he's up against a 2-base all-in, it's gonna be a really weird situation. 11 gets supply blocked. We're droning. We're throwing down a Roach Warren as well. Oh no. We're taking up to Lair. If we don't stop droning soon, this push may just kill him. It's going to be a timing with Stim, just setting up here on 5 Raxes. A little bit supply blocked, so Roselia is stumbling a little bit with the execution of this build as well. As depots are now being thrown down. And yeah, Roselia is pretty committed. Oh boy. Oh god, the supply blocks are really hurting him. We have to be crisp here with our execution of the build. And yeah, 11 is chilling back at home, taking more gases, taking up, throwing down double Evo chambers, taking gases 0. Oh my god, he's being so greedy. He's taking his gases here at his third base as well. I was about to say 5th and 6th, but actually it's his 4th and 5th. And there we go, the 6th gas is being taken as well. 11 just droning up heavily here on his 3 bases. And now the army gets spotted. It's go time. Roselia has to send everything across the map. Roaches are in production. Banelings as well. Baneling speed should finish up in time for this push, but we're going to have 0-0 compared to the stim and combat shields of Roselia. Oh boy, so little time for 11 to react. 11 is also a little bit supply blocked as well, and that will eat into his overall army supply. Look at the units tab. We have 2 roaches, 6 banelings, and 20 lings. This is nowhere near enough to deal with this. But baneling speed is done. To be fair, baneling speed has finished up. Tanks are being sieged as we speak. But the banelings, they're not going to get near this. Yeah, they all go down, and it looks like there was just too much Terran. 11 had no idea what he was up against. He had no idea that he should not be droning and he should not be being this greedy. We do have a massive baneling connection though. Does take down half of the Marines. That one baneling connection may be all that he needed. It's going to be close, but another tank is going to go down to the piles of the Ravagers. Roselia needs to keep on pushing. But it looks like with these reinforcements, up. Oh, another tank goes down. We do get the 4th hatchery, but we need more than just the 4th hatchery. We need to get on top of these Ravagers, and Roselia knows it. But he just doesn't have enough momentum, doesn't have enough on the ground. We have reinforcements coming on in. We need them desperately. And there we go. The final Ravagers go down. The Baileys will not be finishing. We need a target fire, puppy. And there we go. The Baileys will not complete. It looks like Roselia has done it. He has broken the defenses of 11. You have a couple of Ravagers on the way behind this, but alas, 11 was just far too greedy with very limited information. And he just was not prepared for this push. The Roaches go down, the Ravagers as well. The Liberators will siege up at the natural. GG gets called, and Roselia takes game number 3 and the series 2-1. GG, well played. Whew, oh boy. I wonder if Roselia was planning to go for the all-in to begin with. I wonder if that was the initial plan. It's possible. It's very possible, as it was a 1-1-1 opener from him. Unfortunately, 11 wasn't able to get an Overlord into the main. If he did, he would have instantly recognized what was going on. There was no 3rd CC. We went up to 5 Raxes as well. Oh boy. 11 just, yeah, a little bit carelessly droning up heavily, saturating all of his bases, taking up as well without a care in the world. And to be fair, 2-base all-ins in TVZ aren't very common either, but, you know, Roselia is willing to whip that out, and 11 was caught with his pants down. Very exposed. Very exposed. GG, well played. Congratulations to Roselia as he advances onto the grand finals. 11 gets knocked down to the lower bracket, where he's going to be facing the winner of ILikeTrains versus HarOuz and Ice, as we still have a lot of matches going on. GG. They just update the admins with the scores, and we quickly have a look at the brackets because we have some pretty interesting updates. Here we go. ILikeTrains took down Diego 2-0 and moves on to next round. That is a big result. Diego is the reigning champion from Rice Cup number 3, so for him to go down to ILikeTrains is very impressive from our Australian Zerg player. He does come out swinging and does take down one of the favorites of this entire tournament. And we do see a number of matches ahead of us. We have Ice going up against HarOuz in the losers round number 3. Winner goes up against ILikeTrains. Winner of that goes up against 11. Winner of that goes up against Roselia. 4 matches are remaining in this tournament. Oh boy, I had assumed that maybe the lower bracket would be a little bit more updated. I assumed that they would be advancing on a little bit faster, but that is not the case. They are still ongoing, and yeah, because I guess they have a much longer, maybe a late game situation, a much longer series going on there. So yeah, we got a lot ahead of us. Still have a lot ahead of us. Let's go, Papi. Let's go. Alas, this also means that we're kind of just waiting for some players. We're waiting for Ice versus HarOuz to finish. Basically, that is what we are waiting for. I believe that's a PvP going on right now, and that could go either way, as it is Protoss versus Protoss. So, gonna be a brutal one. Winner goes up against a Zerg. Winner that, another Zerg, and then a Terran in the finals. Oh boy, catching up in the chat. See Flamio catching up as well. Nice push. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty all in. Like it was one and done there for Roselia. There was no longevity. There was no E-base for upgrades. There was no third TC. We just had to end it then and there, and hey, he did in the end. He was able to pull it off, just barely. Two-basing it in your face. With that, it looks like we have to go on another break, unfortunately. We don't really have any other games for you right now. We just have to wait a little bit longer to figure out what has been going on. I quickly just try and set up all of these lovely duct tapes. Make sure everything is ready for you. Beautiful, beautiful. So yeah, we're going to be going on another break. I apologize for the downtime, but this should be the last break we have in a long time. So this should be the last break, just because once we do get a game, we're going to be going from series to series to series to series, because we have everything lined up for us going all the way to the finals. So when we return, we'll either have another game of Ice versus HarOuz, or we're going to be going to our next series. Stick around to find out. See you soon, Bobby. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. I apologize for the extended break, but I mentioned it before. One final break is all we needed before to keep this train going. And speaking of trains, we have his opponent. We have someone standing on the railroads, on the train tracks, looking to see if he can take one down. I did. As we are getting into this and spawning in the top right hand corner of altitude, we have the Australian Protoss player representing Team Axis. It is Ice. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Australian Zerg player representing the clan Yikers. What does he like? Well, he likes trains. I like trains, Poppy. Let's go. We have a ZVP before us, and there's no surprise here. Ice is going for a forge first. He's going for a cannon rush, because of course he is. Ice has been around in the Australian scene and community for a very, very long time. He's known for his cheese. He's known for his aggression. It is who he be and what he is known for, and the probe is hidden from that Overlord. The Overlord did check for a cannon rush and is going back out and has missed the probe. Oh no. Not like this, Papi, not like this. The cannon rush is upon us, and ILikeTrains is none the wiser. Did go for a hatch gas pool opener. Because the Overlord is not in position, these cannons will get up. But actually, we're going for a forge gate first, so we're going to be delaying these cannons a little bit. But there we go, the cannons are on the way back at home, or back across the map. And this should be forcing a cancel or a kill on this hatchery. Oh boy, this is going to be a rough start for ILikeTrains. Not like this. Not like this. And yeah. I mean, shout out to ILikeTrains because they were checking, right? Like, the Overlord was rallied to the natural initially, was looking for a probe. Alas, did miss it in the end. Ice did a great job at hiding the probe, and the cannons are upon us. Immediately, we have a Roach Warren. We should be taking our second gas geyser as well. This hatchery will go down. Oh boy. Meanwhile, back at home, we're just expanding. It is a gate expand in a way, so we are transitioning out of this, and Ice is looking to get ahead after getting a kill on this cannon. I do think this gateway is a little bit unnecessary. I don't think we really need to over-invest into these cannons or into this kind of location. Ooh, as the Queen does barely come out in time and will... Oh no! No! Will barely escape. Does barely get out with its life. Another probe! No! Oh my god. The probe almost gets to kill the Queen as well. 2 HP. The Queen does survive. Ling's making it across the map. No cannon? Question mark? Ice is going to be delaying his cannons here by quite a bit. And now he's actually in trouble. We typically should have a cannon back at home to defend. But this is so delayed and the Lings are wreaking havoc. They're going to be able to break through this forge. Uh-oh. Wait, we're just going full clown fiesta all around. Oh god, not like this, Papi, not like this. The forge is going to be going down the gateway as well. We do have an adept out at least, but that won't stop these things from wreaking havoc and taking down another pylon. What do we have to defend? We have a second pylon behind this, but the first will go down. Oh, that adept is under threat as well, but we're actually not focusing it down. In the end, I believe Ice should be able to hold. There we go. The shield battery just finished up. Lings should be cleaned up as well. And behind this, ILikeTrains is going for an all-in. We have more Lings in production. We have 4 roaches on the way as well. And we're not making a Void Ray, we're making an Oracle instead. This is ambitious. Alright, here we go. The Ravagers are being morphed in as we speak. The Lings are flooding across the map as well. Ice is going to have 1 Oracle, which he will keep at home, as well as 1 shield battery, 1 cannon, and 1 adept. 1 of everything. Oh boy, is that going to be enough? As the Oracle's going to try to focus down these Ravagers. The Biles will be able to take down the Forge in the end. The Lings are flooding on in. Where is the overcharge? We have one available. No, we don't. No energy. We went for... We're chrono boosting the Cyber Core instead. Lings do slip into the natural base. Boys are being pulled. It looks like ILikeTrains is slowly pulling this off. He does get surrounded. Oh, his Lings are going down. As it looks like the shield battery will go down at the natural base as well. Adepts are in production. It looks like Ice may have enough to defend. Where's the bile? Up. Oh. Doesn't quite connect with too much, and yeah, ILikeTrains is transitioning. We're expanding. We're taking our natural question mark, the unnatural natural. I don't know what's happening right now. It's a lot of nonsense is what it is, Papi. Lings are rocking up. We're gonna try and push through that pylon, but the Oracle will be able to shoo this away. I see in the chat, I let Jaime in 1 tournament, this happens. True. Este Jaime. Not the Jaime close to our hearts, but a Jaime nonetheless. Different kind of Jamie. From here, it looks like we're kind of committing. Like, we're droning up a little bit. We're squeezing out a couple of workers. But we also have a Baneling Nest on the way, so it looks like ILikeTrains is going to try and go for a Bane Bust, which I think is unnecessary. I feel like the Roaches are kind of providing that role anyway. I don't think Banelings will really add too much to this assault, so I'm concerned about the resources being invested here. Going for the Banelings of all things. Meanwhile, back at home, Ice is just getting fully saturated on these 2 bases. The economic situation for the Protoss player is looking pretty damn good overall. And ILikeTrains is going for the Banelings. I really don't. I'm not too fond of this. Uh, we have three pylons at the natural. We have 3 shield batteries as well. We have a stasis trap. These banelings, yeah, we're gonna try and bust on through that pylon, I guess. But we also have a shield battery. We have an overcharge. Oh, and the baneling's gonna be focused down one after the other. Here we go. We have a head start on the pylon. We're gonna try and break on through, but the shield battery does keep it alive. And ILikeTrains is droning. We're going to be, yeah, getting into a longer game. All right. Here we go, Papi. Here we go. ILikeTrains is going to attempt to macro out of this. Oh, but we have adepts across the map. This is going to be a rough game here for ILikeTrains. There is only one pylon powering all this, so we can focus it down and depower everything. So ILikeTrains will be able to regain control of his own natural base, but Trains is racing across the map with everything he has. 3 Stalkers, 6 Adepts, a Sentry, and a couple of Oracles. Oh boy. Pretty terrifying army. ILikeTrains. How many queens do we have to work with? We've got 1 queen between our 2 bases. That's something. That is something. As it's gonna rotate over towards that mineral line. The boys are being pulled. The Roach is doing what they can as well. But boys against Adepts, you hate to see it. Not like this, Papi. Not like this. The Adepts say shed past. They're heading towards the main. Yeah, it just feels like a bit of a slow jet here for ILikeTrains. Like, he's doing his best here to keep up with the multi-pronged aggression of Ice, but he just doesn't have the numbers to support this. Oh my god, 15 workers do go down to the Oracles as they do transfer between the bases. Honestly, there's no reason to turn around. We have... Oh, I thought we had an Oracle with energy. Oh, no, not anymore. It has quickly run out. We did not cancel. So it looks like Ice is going to evacuate. He's going to back off. He's going to macro up back at home instead. Focus on his army production. And he's going to be going for a second wave. Meanwhile, ILikeTrains is licking his wounds as we speak. He's trying to go for his own counterattack. The slow roaches, speedlings. He's going to do what he can. But there's not much he can do, given the situation, to be honest. Oh. Meanwhile, shout out to Asheri for subscribing for 9 months in a row. Oh. You're now a papi. Welcome. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for supporting us for 9 months. It's been a great time here, Asheri. Gracias. Hope you've been enjoying yourself over the months, over the streams, over the broadcasts. Thank you. Do appreciate it. As, yeah, right now, ILikeTrains, he's doing his best Terran impression. He's being fueled by copium right now. He is desperately trying to re-drone and resaturate his bases. He's down to like half the worker count of Ice right now. Is there a way to recover from here? There shouldn't be. Like, really what we're hoping for, what ILikeTrains is hoping for, is for Ice to make mistakes. If Ice, for whatever reason, I don't know, moves out with only his Stalkers without Blink and throws his army away, if he is inattentive and maybe there's like a Link counterattack or a Link run by that like slips into the main or the natural, like there are ways to come back from this position, but again, it's just reliant on the Protoss player like messing up. I don't know if we're really that's the most reliable of ways to approach this, but yo, it's all we got. It is all we got. ILikeTrains amassing a Roach army as we speak. I believe we're still on Hatch Tech. And yes, we are. No lair. So we're just going to be moving out with what we have as Ice is taking up towards Sky Toss. We have the Fleet Beacon on the way. Void Rays as well. Soon to be Carriers. Soon to be Mothership. Ice is just securing his position, his victory here by going into Sky Toss. There is nothing that shoots up. We have 2 queens. That is our anti-air right now. We're about to have a third queen, to be fair, which, you know, it's going to be pretty insane. But alas, here we go. ILikeTrains going for his last-ditch effort, his final push. And he gets stasis. The stasis trap will go off. We have the overcharge being popped as well. One shield battery will go down, but nothing shoots up. The force fields are insane. Alongside the stasis, the roaches are trapped. There is no way out, and they will all go down. On top of that, nothing shoots up. So these Void Rays are going to be able to wreak havoc from the skies. Fourth base is being taken as we speak. We have Lings coming out to reinforce, so it looks like ILikeTrains is committed to the all-in. With these Ling reinforcements, ILikeTrains is going to try one more time to bust up this ramp into this Protoss. Meanwhile, we have a third Stargate on the way. We have more Void Rays. Flux Veins for Void Ray speed. You love to see it. And the Lings rush on forward, but another stasis trap does go off. The Lings are being shut down time and time again, and now we're committed. We're done waiting. The Roaches, they dive on forward, and they get hit by another stasis. GG gets called, and Ice will take game number 1. GG. Oh, solid game 1 there from Ice. Starting off, I say solid. I mean, it was a little bit shaky after post cannon rush. The cannon rush itself did a lot of damage, but afterwards, Ice was quite lacking in his defense back at home. Did skip out his zealot. Did skip out on the defensive cannon rush. Oh, sorry, cannons. And Ice was in a lot of trouble. He was in a lot of trouble. He was losing a lot as well. ILikeTrains did not have... Sorry, Ice just didn't have the best follow-up after the initial cannon rush. Oh. But, yeah, was able to recover in the end and defend and take game 1. And now, we're getting into game number 2. Here we go. And game 2 will be taking place on Dragon Scales. I feel so bad because it all started, remember, with ILikeTrains checking his natural for a probe. He was looking for a cannon rush, and Ice kept his probe hidden. He kept it secret, he kept it safe, and it was not found until it was too late. Until the Dark Lord had risen. As we're getting into game number 2 and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Dragon Scales, we have the Australian Protoss player representing Team Axis. It is Ice. Aye. Axis, Ice, it all came together, Buffy, in a really unfortunate way. And in the bottom right-hand corner, for the Yikers clan, we have the Australian Zerg player representing ILikeTrains. It is... representing Yikers, it is ILikeTrains.
Oh god, the brain, it's not working anymore. The cannon rush broke me. Oh my god.
It has been a long day of StarCraft already. We've been casting for the past 7 hours. We're gonna keep it going though. We're gonna need to hold on. Okay, we're stretching. Oh boy, we can do this. We can do this. It is gonna be a gas first opener. ILikeTrains is turning up the aggression. He's going gas pull into hatchery. With this, we got fasting speed. With this, we can get a fast Baneling Nest as well and go into a Bane Bust or a Roach Flood. ILikeTrains has had enough. He wants to be in the face of his opponents, and Ice has scouted. Did confirm this with the probe. Oof. And yeah, we'll see if we'll see how he responds. He should be walling off, should be chronoing out that first zealot. There we go. We do have the Cyber Core and the Gateway on the way. So far, a good reaction out of Ice, and oh, it's not a Ling Flood. It's a Roach Warren. Hey, let's go, Bobby. So Ice has kept his probe alive. He pylon blocks at the natural. He should be going back into the main to rescout. He needs to figure out what exactly is going on. Alas, he's a little bit busy here tasing away at the hatchery, and that means that this probe is going to go down. Oh, probe does go down. And Ice is going to be in the dark. He is not going to be aware of what is going on. We have a Stargate on the way. Ooh, on the low ground, all powered by one gateway. This is dangerous. This is scary. This is an Artosis pylon. And Ling Roach are coming across the map. Oh boy. I see the chat catching up. Oh no. Not like this. Monka S, Buffy. Monka S. Oh. I'm gonna walk past that. I'm not gonna. Yeah, we're good. Meanwhile, the roaches, I believe, were just revealed to that pylon. So Ice is getting ready back at home. We have a shield battery on the way. We should be going into a void ray, not an oracle. Hopefully, just a void ray. For the time being, nothing quite yet. As we do have, there we go, the Oracle on the way. I'm a little bit concerned here, especially considering that we only have one pylon powering everything. All of the production is powered here at the natural. We have high ground vision, and that pylon should be the target for these piles. Here we go. The piles are going to be forcing the way open. We do force a little bit of friendly fire, but the Lings, they flood in. Do have an overcharge. Thankfully, we do have a second pylon here keeping all of this powered. The first pylon is also surviving through the onslaught of the roaches and Lings. Ugh. Yeah, this is not going well here for ILikeTrains. Just a little bit of a haphazard attack. Does take down the shield battery, but the pylons survive. The Stalkers clean this up. And Ice has defended. He has defended beautifully here. I didn't see that second pylon. If I did miss it, I do apologize. Was camouflaged by the Nexus and the Stargate. But it's okay. It's okay. And ILikeTrains is gonna have to drone from here. Is looking to recover from a pretty rough position. We can see he is heavily behind in the worker counts. Not like this, Buffy. Not like this. And yeah, it's kind of what happens after a bit of a failed all-in. The execution there was lacking a little bit, unfortunately, and yeah, we have the revelation on these Lings. And we won't really be able to push on further from here. It's going to be on ILikeTrains to maybe double expand or just take his third base, and yeah, we don't really have a lot to work with here. We have to build up some queens as well to spread creep and connect our bases. We're still lacking that third, by the way. And even if we did try to get it, we have Ice active with these oracles. Behind this, we're transitioning into a Robo and a Twilight Council. This could be for even a charge follow-up all-in. We can go into Glaives. Oof. As we don't really have that many queens left to begin with, and yeah, Queen at the Natural does go down. So where do we go from here is the question. We do have 2 gases being taken, so I wouldn't be opposed to charge. Blink would be an interesting one. But yeah, there we go. It is going to be charged. Something a little bit more decisive here. Once charge kicks in, we can go for a massive warp in. We can set up all these gateways, and we can go for a big push off of 3 bases. And ILikeTrains is going to have a hard time keeping up. We see that, especially because he has such limited scouting information, he doesn't know what is going on, doesn't know what his opponent is up to. We even throw down a spine. That is a terrified Zerg if I've ever seen one. I see myself in trains, Poppy. We throw down the spine. Let's go. Yeah, and he knows that he's just so vulnerable right now. As the Depths are looking to shade on in, they commit to the shade. We do head into the natural base, and we're not going to be able to focus down too much. The Spinecrawler finishes up just in time, and yeah, Ice throws away quite a lot of units. Let's go, buddy. Let's go. And we'll see if ILikeTrains can take advantage of this situation here. After losing so many Adepts, you could argue that maybe this third base is a little bit exposed, but nah, we got plenty here to defend. We have a shield battery finishing up. We got 2 Stalkers, we got some Adepts, we got some Zealots as well. Like Ice, he's sitting back pretty, and he's working towards his immortal count and his charge lots. He is lacking heavily in gateways. This entire time he's been working off of 2 gates, and now he's got a 3rd on the way, but there we go. 4th, 5th gateway, 6th gateway as well. Finally, we're getting to a more robust production here for Ice. Yeah, unfortunately, these gateways weren't lined up with charge. Like, I do think we could have hit a pretty crisp charge timing, maybe even with +1. But alas, it did come out a little bit later, and as a result, Ice is just more concerned with establishing the space. And oh my god. He's just throwing down a field of stasis traps because we can. Is this necessary? Not really. But you know what? We got him. We're safe and sound. We had 6 gates in the main, now we have 2 more, so 8, 9 gates in total. And ILikeTrains is still just saturating on 3 bases. We have 1-1 on the way, so we can maybe try and hit a timing with Roach Ravager with 1-1. But by the time this hits, like, we should have a large gateway army. Like, Ice should be able to hit his warp-ins on time and have enough of a force to defend, but we'll see. We'll see. As ILikeTrains is going to be droning up at around the 60 to 66 worker count. I expect ILikeTrains to cut workers entirely and just look to try to max out on Roach Ravager, but no, we're actually taking up into a Hydra Den. Okay. Interesting moves here out of ILikeTrains. I kind of like it. I like the idea of maybe going into lair tech lurkers to survive. And we'll see if he can survive. Ice, does he have a prism? He does. Okay, we're still lacking some warpins, but there we go. We have some Templar, some Archons on the way. Boy, this is going to be a rough push. 17 Zealots. The Archons are pushing forward as well. The Spine Crawler is going to be coming into effect, and Ice is going to pull back as a result. He does show his hand, he does reveal his army, and now ILikeTrains knows he has to build nothing but Roaches and Hydras. Ice is giving him a lot of time. Here we go, the Zealots are busting on through. They're going to be cleaned up by the wave of Roaches. 1-1 finishes up just in time. And Ice is being forced back. Oh no, but he gets baited into the stasis trap, Afi. If it wasn't for the stasis, then maybe ILikeTrains could have forced Ice back, but no, it is not meant to be. Ice breaks on through anyway. And the Immortal is wreaking havoc. We do see the 3rd base is being broken, but the stasis trap is about to run out. But the Archons go ham. The Roach army does crumble, and Ice is breaking said 3rd base. There's nothing left to hold on. We have a couple of Roaches on the way. Alas, it is not going to be enough. Oh god, they're trying to escape the clutches here of the Protoss, and they will barely escape with their lives. But the base goes down. ILikeTrains also lost his mineral line as well. And there's nothing stopping Ice from pushing up into the natural if he so chose to. We can see Ice is taking this a little bit more. He's being a little bit more careful. He's taking a 4th base. He's, I imagine, going to be starting up +2 shortly as well. There we go. He's going to be rotating over towards that natural. At the same time, a drop into the main. Not the best control from Ice, so he's going to be losing some of those Zealots here in between the bases, but at the same time, oh my god, the Overlords! No! So many Overlords are going to be going down. Oh my god, the supply block is going to be real. We don't even have enough to really facilitate for this anyway. As Ice powers through into the natural base. And again, some decent concaves here from ILikeTrains, but it is not going to be enough. The main is broken, the natural is broken. Ice is going to be taking this series, and GG gets called. Ice takes it 2-0. GG, well played. Oh boy. And with that, congratulations to Ice as he does advance on in the tournament to face off against 11 in a PvZ off of, yeah, a very interesting series here. My condolences to ILikeTrains. Game 1 was the most sad one for me because he was looking for the cannon rush, he missed it, and then he got cannon rush anyway. Like, it was so sad. Game 2, ILikeTrains, he kind of had to sleep in his own bed sort of thing, you know, like he made it, he chose to go for the Ling roach all in, and the execution just wasn't quite there. So ILikeTrains had a really rough follow-up after that, but game one was a lot more smooch. GG, well played. And with that, we do advance on to the lower bracket finals. We have 2 series remaining. We're going to be jumping into 11 versus Ice. Eleven has been patiently waiting here for the winner of that series, and yeah, 11 is going to be quite a more powerful opponent. Coming into this tournament, I think there were only 2 Masters players. It was 11 and Roselia. They were the only 2, I think. The 2 notables, I think maybe Achilles was as well. Who did Achilles go down to? Went down to Ice and Trains. But yeah, 11 and Roselia are kind of the stronger players coming into this, but even though Ice may be rated a little bit lower, he can be very cheesy, as we saw, so he can punch up. You know, he can make up for some other deficits. And he can try and overcome the might that is 11 with something like a cannon rush or some other crazy cheesy builds. I'm ready to bear witness. I'm ready. And the players are just conducting the vetoes. It looks like the vetoes are going to be Gressvan, Altitude, Babylon, and Neo Humanity. Okay, so we're going to be dropping the 2 large maps. 2 larger maps, I should say, and Neo Humanity as well, which means game 1 is going to be on Ancient Cistern. Okay, Ancient Cistern into Dragon Scales into Royal Blood. Also, I believe I will have a co-caster for the finals. I believe I will have another lovely Duckling joining me for the grand finals. Let's go. The players are bantering a little bit in the chat. They recognize each other. I think Ice used to be on Born Gosu back in the day. He was on Daily Life as well. Ice has been on he's been on a lot of teams. Hi. But here we go. The lower bracket finals is upon us. And here we go. Spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ancient Cistern, we have the Australian Protoss representing Team Access. It is Ice. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. Oh my god. Wait, what? Okay, going for a 16 hatch, I imagine. We have the American Zerg player representing Risen from the Ashes. It is 11. Okay, this is Smooch. So because he went for a 16 hatch instead of a 15 hatch, he gets here and he's not even here in time to get the natural base. I don't think this was worth it at all. So we're gonna be going hatch gas pool here. It was a 16 hatch, a 15 gas, and a 14 pool. Interesting. Yeah, this is something that I haven't seen before. I understand trying to be a little bit efficient. So because of this, you do delay your overlord and you're a little bit more larva efficient, but because of the unnatural natural, then yeah, I don't think this makes it really worth it in the end for 11. He's gonna have an abundance of gas earlier on than normal, but link speed isn't the most important upgrade in ZVP, I'll be honest. Like, it's yeah, it is good to keep up with adepts, don't get me wrong, but not the most impactful upgrade. On top of that, we're going to be investing into 4 lings instead of 2 as well. So 11 really wants to try to deal and clean up this probe to let him expand, as he is paranoid. My god. He's going to be checking his main base for a proxy pylon as well. I mean, I don't blame him because it is ice, and ice is known to be very cheesy. But yeah, 11 taking this very seriously, as he's actually going for a link flood. Okay, now this makes more sense. This makes sense why we would go for a faster gas like this into link speed. We pull out a gas almost immediately, and now we're flooding links across the map. Ice is fully walling off back at home, does have his stalker out initially, did go for a gate expand, but is he ready for this? That's the question. The stalker is a bit out of position, does pull back in time. Where's the shield battery? We need a probe. The lings are racing across the map as we speak. Adepts being chronoed out. We do have a shield battery on the way. We need another building behind this. We need a secondary wall. And we don't quite have one yet, as there we go. We do throw down another pylon. The lings get a beautiful surround on this gateway. Adept has arrived. With link speed on the way, I feel like we probably shouldn't have cancelled that pylon, to be honest. I don't think Ice recognized how committed 11 was going to be. The gateway does fall, and I think the game may just end from here. Like, the shield battery can't repair itself, so it's going to be going down. We're going to get a surround on this adept. This oracle is delayed. It is being chronoed as we speak, but the lings do get a surround. Second adept comes out just in time. Ooh, and that second adept is so crucial. We do go for the full wall off. Lings try and dive on top of that pylon, but alas, they will all be cleaned up, and Ice is going to hold. It was a tight defense, don't get me wrong. I was very concerned with how that would go, but Ice is fully wall off in the end. Does get his oracle out, preserves his natural, and he's in a pretty good position as a result. 11 was pretty all in with this. He has 16 workers. He has half the worker count of Ice. Things are not going to be looking good here for 11 as he does try to transition, and Ice, this is very smart, to be honest. We're going into a fleet beacon. After defending against that all-in, Ice is miles ahead. There is no reason not to capitalize on that and go for a fleet beacon like this and go straight into carriers. I think this is going to work wonders for Ice. In chat, Ice, Achilles, Roselia, and 11 were all Masters players. Oh, there you go. Shout out to Rise for letting us know. Nope. And yeah, we'll see how 11 can recover from this position. I mean, he's still trying to drone. Like, he had to invest some of his economy, some of his workers to make these spores as well, which is less than ideal, just so we can preserve our workers against the Oracle. We have Lings racing across the map once again. They are going to be delaying the third base and containing Ice to 2 bases at least. Yeah, we got a lot of droning to do here. It's for 11. As carrier production has commenced, quickly checking the vision here. 11 hasn't been able to dip in. He doesn't know what he's up against. Now, the other odd thing here, and you can kind of see it here in the resources of Ice, like, clearly he's not too well versed in the follow-up, but there is no second Stargate. There are no additional gateways. We've been having a hard time spending our money here, so Ice is going to have to try and recover and try to get back into his production. Despite going for an initial carrier, I don't know how I feel about this. We're transitioning into something else entirely. So, oh my god, as the Lings are getting us around, can they get the CC? Can they get the Nexus? Oh! No, they cannot. So, yeah, Ice, he reveals one carrier and then he's hard switching into mass gateways instead. I personally, I would prefer him to just commit to the Sky Toss, to be honest. Yeah, I'm curious to see how this works out. I mean, 11 is racing into a lair. Like, I'm sure more than anything, he wants to Spire and he wants to start Corruptor production. So he is forcing a major reaction out of his opponent. But, 11 can't afford Corruptors right now. He can't even afford Spire. Like, if we did just make, like, 3 carriers, we could just end the game. If we just had double Stargate and double carrier production, we could just end the game with the first push. Alas, Ice is trying to be tricky and he's trying to, you know, tech switch out and try to stay on top of his opponent. But this is giving 11 an opportunity to come back. Just because the push is going to be much later and, in a way, a little bit weaker. Boy. And 11 is going to be going into Hydras, not Aspire, not Corruptors. Hydras can be an answer, especially against a low amount of carriers. And, I mean, we only have 1 carrier, so Hydras wouldn't be too bad. As Queens are being produced, the Adepts try to shade into the mineral lines. They do head towards the natural, and ooh, they're going to find a lot of exposed workers. Yeah, 5 drones will go down. And this isn't too bad here. What was this, like 4 Adepts? 5 Adepts? Pretty good damage done here from Ice. As we're looking to hit with a follow-up charge lot timing. Charge is done, +1 as well. And yeah, Ice should be able to pull this off here with his follow-up push. 2 carriers. How many Zealots do we have? We have 16 Zealots as well. And we're going up against a handful of Hydras and some Queens. The Queens can trade relatively well for themselves, especially with Transfuse, but the Zealots will eventually be able to overcome this. Yeah, the Queens are not going to be good enough. The Zealots just wreak havoc on every single one of them. GG gets called, and Ice will take game number 1. GG, after a very peculiar opener from 11. Haven't quite seen a 16, 15, 14 before. It's crazy, crazy. Into a Link Flood. Almost broke into the bases of Ice, but wasn't quite able to pull it off in the end. A really quirky build from 11. Very quirky. Now we're going to be getting into our next game. We go. We're going to be getting into our next game, which will be taking place on Dragon Scales. Boy. Again, Roselia has been patiently waiting for the winner of this series. Is waiting for either a rematch or a showdown with Ice. One or the other. And Ice has been looking pretty damn good here, to be honest. Oh boy. I think maybe 11 getting into his own head a little bit, especially in game 1. Feels so hyper paranoid. Probably expecting aggression, expecting cheese. But here we go. We're now getting into our next game and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Dragon Scales. We have the Australian Protoss player representing Team Axis. It is Ice. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the American Zerg representing Risen from the Ashes. It is 11. Going for, I think that was a 13 pool, by the way. Okay, so basically a pseudo 12 pool here from 11. You love to see it. Is going to be keeping the aggression up. I believe a 14 gas as well. So a 13-14 from 11. Interesting. interesting stuff here. So we're going to be going pretty all in once again. With this, I imagine this is going to be accompanied by a Baleen Nest. As Ice goes for a probe scout, he sees the timing on not just the gas geyser, but also the spawning pool, and he should be reacting to this. He should be walling off and prioritizing his zealot. Not just his zealot, but also some site defense. Oh, as we are not going into a Baleen Nest, we're taking a second gas geyser. This is looking like a roach all in. Okay, you have my attention, 11. What do you got in store for us? What do you have in store? Back at home, Ice just walling off, chronoing at his first zealot. Behind this, he should be going into a Stargate to get into Void Rays. Probe dips back in, and what does the probe see? Looking at the vision here, Ice confirms, doesn't see the second gas geyser. But he saw the first one, and oh, we have one base spire? Okay. Okay. Is this for Dropper Lords? Is it? We only have one Overlord in position. For those wondering, to make Dropper Lords, or make Overlords into transporting units, you do need a lair for that. This could be a Nidus, but we don't have link speed, and we only have one queen, so I don't see a Nidus really coming out from this. I don't see a Dropper Lord doing well either, because we don't have any Overlords. Oh, we have another Overlord coming into position, so this actually could be for some drop play, unironically. Without link speed, a slow link drop? No shot. One base Spire isn't a thing. One base Swarm Host isn't a thing either. Show me what you got. Okay, it's gonna be one base Swarm Host. Fair enough. One base Swarm Host Nidus. This is a very diamond build. This is a very Rice Cup build. Very fitting. I like it. I like it. You know, embrace the Rice Cup. This is the egg that's on top of the rice in the logo. Can confirm. Let's go. One base Swarmers. All right. Okay. So, Ice has no idea what's happening. Should have been going for a Stargate, but no. Oh, he's going for a Robo, which is a good thing for 11. So the reason why I'm really concerned about how this will play out is because we should have seen a Stargate follow-up, which will gain access to a Void Ray. And if we had one Void Ray, we shut this down. The Void Ray cleans up the Overlords, the Void Ray cleans up the Nidus as well, and there's nothing for 11 to do. But he rolls the dice well, the Nidus does finish, and Ice is going for a Robo. He's going for a Ground Toss instead. Here we go, the Swarm Host have arrived. 3 of them are being produced, 4th is on the way. And we'll see how Ice can handle this with Stalkers. So far so good. He's going to be able to focus down some of those Locust Waves, and he does get 1 probe, 2 probes for his troubles. At the same time, Nidus going in towards the natural base as well. We'll finish, but nothing will really come of it. Oh no, we do get 1 Swarm Host trapped! 11. Overextending a little bit there. We'll be losing one of his Swarm Hosts. Meanwhile, Ice is going to hunt down this Nidus and forces Locust Wave to be used defensively. Oh my god. Nidus on the low ground is going to be going down. There is a Nidus on the high ground on the way, but the Locust Waves are on cooldown. They were just used. We don't have high ground vision. Here we go. The Swarm Hosts have popped out in the main base. We have 2 Swarm Hosts, Nidus Waves? Locust Waves available. Queens are spreading creep. You know, the Swarm Host count is slowly getting higher over time, and we're getting probe kills, to be fair. Do we have an Observer? We don't have an Observer yet, but we should be seeing one next, and there we go. Observer is on the way. Oh boy, and yeah, after the Observer comes out, we clean up the detection and the creep, and yeah. I don't know what the plan is here for 11. How many swarm hosts do we have? We have 8 swarm hosts. That's a lot of swarm hosts, to be fair. That is a lot of swarm hosts. Can do a lot of damage. It looks like Ice is done waiting. He's making his prism. He wants to be active on the map. Oh, we actually can reach that tumor as well. I have 9 swarm hosts. These locust waves, they can do a lot of damage. Like, this is actually a little bit scary. This is terrifying. And here we go. Locust wave is coming on in. We can focus down every single one of these stalkers. Shield Battery Overcharge is keeping the stalkers alive, at least some of them, but not all of them. Let's go. And I kind of want to give the edge to 11 now. Like, we have Ice struggling to keep up with all these Nidus plays, and now we get a Nidus into the main as well. Gonna get another Locust Wave, and these Locust Waves, they're getting more and more dangerous over time. And there we go. They are all ready to unload, to unleash their Locusts. And yeah, I think he's taking control of the main. There's just too much here. Ice, I don't blame him for not being experienced in this position, because let's be real, who has gone up against one-base swarm host before? Very few players, I imagine. And this is paying off here for 11. He's taking control of the main. Ice barely has any production, any units at all to work with. His army is almost non-existent as he's going across the map. And he's going to be doing a lot of damage here to 11, but I don't know if Ice can ever deal with the swarm hosts. That's the problem. DTs can change things, I guess. As 11 is down to 11 drones. Sorry, 13 drones, never mind. Locust Wave comes on in. Do we have any DTs? The answer for the time being is no. We need those DTs. The Dark Shrine is being focused on. There we go, they're being warped in as we speak. Across the map. Oh, that's a bold move because we have spores at home. Uh-oh. We're just going for the base trade. He's trying to focus down yeah, he's going to focus down the lair. We don't have the money right. We need minerals. We need 10 more minerals. We need money, Papi. No, mine minerals. 11, he can't afford a hatchery. He's 100, he's 10 minerals off. Ah, he needs to mine. Retrieve, there's minerals right there. No, okay, we're okay. He saves the hatchery. 11 will not be forced all in. He's okay. There we go. We're back to mining. For those wondering, it's 300 minerals to make a hatchery. 300. So, and he had 290. But he's back to mining. And yeah, this is a game of StarCraft that we're having. Oh, Swarm Host being focused down. Ice getting a ninja base as we speak. From here, I mean, 11 still has a terrifying army. Is the thing. Looking at the unit tab, we have 12 swarm hosts. My god, I don't know if there's anything that 12 swarm hosts can't do, other than shoot up, of course. But and it's gonna be sending another locust wave into the natural. Shield batteries are doing what they can, but these locusts have so much DPS. They just don't even care. They're going to be running out, though. And we are going to be able to hold on for the time being behind this. Wait. He came back in. No shot. Okay, we thankfully have money for it. He came back in, Bobby. He did snipe the one base of 11, but we do have enough money for another hatchery. Thankfully, we do have one this time. Oh, well, we don't have enough for a second. This is getting really weird. The spine crawlers are doing well for themselves. These zealots are a little bit wasteful from Ice. As more than anything, he just has to get on top of these swarm hosts. We have another Locust Wave. And this is getting a bit out of hand. I mean, at least we have a ninja base for Ice, so he has a decent economy behind this. Going for another warp in of Zelts across the map as well. And it looks like with this warp in of Zelts, I should be able to overwhelm and overpower everything in the main. Does force the queens back home. Does force the queens back home. There we go. I was like, what's going on, Bobby? What's going on? There we go. The queens are on the way to shut down this prism. They do have to respect these zealots, though. To be very careful, as the Locust Wave has reset across the map. He just keeps going for warp ins, so it feels like Ice is going to be losing his natural. He hasn't rebuilt his shield batteries, so he's going to be losing all of his adepts, and then soon he's going to be losing control of his natural base entirely. He's just committing warp ins across the map instead, and these zealots are getting damage done, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if this is really the damage that we're looking for. Getting the queens. It's definitely good. Every single queen is going to be going down, and it looks like we have enough to overwhelm and overpower what little Locust Waves there are. Force everything back home. But 11 still has a base mining. We're still just committed to pure gateway army. Do we have any upgrades? No, we have charge. That's it. That's why we're warping in zealots. Like, we don't really have much else to work with. Nidus does go down. We are still on 12 swarm hosts. We're gonna be long distance mining. Okay, so after an intense moment, I do think that I kind of want to give the edge a little bit to 11, but I recognize that he has to keep some swarm hosts at home to defend constantly, which means he can't be active. He's taking a natural base as we speak. Because of the freedom that Ice now has, he probably has the edge. He's getting on top of the swarm hosts. Oh my god, the swarm hosts are going down! Where's the Locust Wave? We're late to pull it. We're late to bring out the boys, and what is that? 3-4 swarm hosts go down. This is game-ending damage. Ay. We had 12 swarm hosts, and now we're down to 7. We're down to only 7 swarm hosts remaining. We got a Nidus into the main. 4 swarm hosts across the map, 3 swarm hosts back at home. Ice leaving this army a little bit idle. It's now going in. And it looks like Ice has done it. It looks like Ice has been able to pull it off in the end. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't. But you know, we're not here for pretty. It's okay, Papi. It's okay. We're here to get the job done. And you know what? We did it. With zealots, some stalkers, some ninja bases. We pulled it off. 11 has no idea, by the way. 11 hasn't spotted the bottom left.
Cluster under direct assault.
GG gets called. And Ice will take game number 2 and the series. GG. Ay. I see in the chat, this is truly a game of all time. It is. It is. Oh my god. Not a rice cup goes by that I regret holding it. Shout out to Rise in the chat. Ay. This is way better than Dark Swarm Host build. Not like this. I'm catching up in the chat. I want to see what people were predicting. Swarm Host, everyone's freaking out, mate. Oh my god. I'll be honest, as a Zerg player, I'm glad 11 lost. that was nonsense, mate. That was actual nonsense. GG, well played. Congratulations to Ice as he moves on to the grand finals to face off against the Korean Terran player in Roselia. Has been patiently waiting for quite some time, and I believe I have a co-caster. I believe I have someone to join me. Let's go, Poppy. Let's go. I need Asher to come and to save my brain. Oh god. I need it to stop, Poppy. I need it to stop. Ah. Poppy. Hello. Hello, Poppy. I need you to help. The brain is gone, Poppy. Oh.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Is my mic being weird?
Nah, it's good. It's good. You're all good.
Okay, cool.
Welcome everyone to my lovely co-caster Asher to the stream. Welcome, Poppy. Welcome. Oh.
Hello.
Were you watching the stream?
I'm still kind of watching that game.
Oh.
That sure was a game.
No, it wasn't. That was not a game. Go on.
I just played it pretty well. Like, if he didn't go for the zealot weapons in the main, I think he was pretty dead.
Yeah,
it was very good.
Yeah, the ninja base as well did work out very well for Ice, who was able to have a base uninterrupted mining. But that was
yeah, there were some decisions that got made in that game. That's for sure.
Were they
I really liked the Swarm Host being the Swarm Host Knight is in the natural.
Yeah,
and like it doesn't need to be in the natural.
It doesn't.
You just throw them over the wall.
Yeah.
That's why they're good.
It's just getting rid of the advantage of the Swarm Host. You know, it's like it's. Oh god.
Have to put the fear in them.
Yeah. It's just it's a power move. It's a power move. That's it.
Yeah.
Have you been, Poppy? Have you been?
Oh yeah. I'm pretty good. Some good StarCraft.
Yeah. Today's been a good long day of StarCraft already, but it is coming to an end here. You're joining us just in time for the grand finals, Poppy. The grand finals.
Nice. Yeah. If I saw correctly, I believe it's Roselia versus Ice.
Yep. There we go. So it's in a way going to be a repeat of last edition. Last edition, it was a TVP finals between Roselia and Diego, but this week Diego went down in the lower bracket much earlier in the tournament, and instead we have a very different Protoss, an Australian Protoss.
Yeah, that's kind of surprising. He did so well last week at Diego, that is.
Yeah.
The Zealot all-ins were absolutely insane. They looked really strong. So props to whoever took him out, but Roselia, very solid player. I was watching their TVZs earlier on, and pretty solid. Like,
Yeah.
he just looks really solid.
Yeah, it was a really solid TVZ. He had a 2-base all-in on Gressvan that he went for. It was a 5 racks, 1-1, 2-base all-in. And the game before that, what did he go for? I remember him having a Hellbat push as well, with mixed success.
Yeah, I saw him doing another 2-base all-in, just like a 3 racks 2-base all-in. That was pretty good too.
Yeah. For sure. So, been quite aggressive against the Zergs, but he's not up against a Zerg this time. He's up against a Protoss instead. And it doesn't matter how well versed you are in TVP Ice. He's very unique. He's very
okay. So, I remember playing as Ice when I was in Diamond, and basically what would happen is you would be up like 30-40 supply, and then he'd do the Sephiron thing and just do a random disruptor in the middle of the map, and then suddenly the game's really close, and then you just get spammed by charge zealots. So a lot of his play revolves around trickery, whether it be ETs at a very odd timing, or random disruptors in the middle of the map, or proxy bases, hidden bases, things like that. I'm expecting to see the full gamut here against Roselia.
Yeah. Ice, he is unashamedly a Protoss player, and he embraces that wholeheartedly. More so than maybe others should. So yeah, Ice is going to be a very aggressive player, and this is going to be maybe a bit of a tough ask for Roselia. We saw Roselia struggle against Diego last time, struggle against the all-in nature of Diego, and yeah, we're going to be seeing some more aggression this week as well. You were wondering like who was the one who knocked down Diego, and this week it was actually Roselia. Roselia got his revenge and 2-0 Diego in the upper bracket.
Yeah, I do. I think that kind of makes sense. Like when we were watching Roselia versus Diego, I was thinking that he just kind of looked like he was a bit thrown off and trying to come up with a hard counter on the fly without having any solid foundation to it. So I think with having had the time to go away and think about it, I'm not surprised to see him do a little bit better. And I'm kind of worried that the same thing might happen with Ice. If he tries really hard to hard counter Ice's playstyle and kind of come up with something on the fly, he could throw himself out. I think he just needs to stick to his standard game plan here.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see if he's able to pull that off as the vetoes are done. The series is upon us. This is going to be a best-of-5 grand finals with a 1-point advantage to Roselia as Roselia is coming from the upper bracket. Here we go. Getting to game 1.
If he plays Terran, you get an extra point for playing Terran because it's harder.
Oh, I wish.
As spawning in the top left-hand corner of the map for Axis, this is Jaime. I heard you call him before. Mr. Ice.
I called him something else before.
Was that by accident?
Jaime?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. It's
okay.
Jaime. It's how you pronounce his name in Spanish. Jaime.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But did you mean to do that?
The other one was an accident. Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Babylon, we have his opponent. We have the Korean Terran player representing Clan Louder and all the weebs out there. It is Roselia.
Are we allowed to joke about that now? It's been out of the news cycle for a while. Is it all right now?
I don't know, Poppy. I'm not touching it. All
right. Yeah, that's fine.
Off stream, we can joke about it on our personal
If we did,
streams.
though, there'd be a lot of material.
There would be. I don't know how PC it would be, though. I don't... Oh,
No,
not at all.
Okay, we'll just leave it to the imagination.
Yeah.
As Ice is opening up with the double gas build, so this is usually going to be a proxy Stargate. It could be a proxy Robo as well, but either way, it looks like he is positioned over here to the right. So this is a pretty crafty spot. Some people do send their Reaper straight here just to look for the probe because it's a common place to hide the probe if you're not proxying. So I'm a little bit worried that could happen. It just depends on what Roselia likes to do with the Reaper. It's almost pure luck at this point.
Yeah, it depends if Roselia is one to look for any kind of proxies and be safe against Ice. It's also dependent on whether Roselia knows anything about Ice as well. I do know that Roselia was watching the stream, but we didn't get to cast any Ice versus Terran. We saw him against Zoro mainly, so...
He was going to look for the proxy and then he changed the rally. It shouldn't matter too much actually because he is checking for the base here and he'll see that this base is quite late, which should throw up some alarm bells. He goes into the main as well, and once he goes into the main, I would like to see him check if there's 2 gates. He's going to go for the probe damage anyway, which is fine. That's good too. Ice should have built a battery here. It was really greedy of him to go for a Nexus here without getting maybe a battery here, or at least chronoing out an Adept, and he is going to be punished a little for that.
Yeah, 2 probes do go down. Roselia, for the most part, gets a full scout as well. Did not see the entirety of the production available here, so there could have been maybe a second gateway. He's unawares. Meanwhile, across the map, Ice is even going for a pylon block here at the natural, is forcing Roselia to throw down the CC on the high ground.
Yeah, and actually it's going to be a proxy Oracle. I really like this, especially against the build that Roselia is doing here at the moment, the Mass Reapers and Hellions. And Oracle's going to do really well against that because, I mean, obviously nothing shoots up. It's going to be super important for Roselia to make a mine here to be safe, but I don't think he is. Also, keeping these units back here to take out the pylon, not ideal.
Yeah, they could be doing so much more across the map as well, and even punishing the lack of units available for Ice, but the timing... And he's not going to be able to pull that off. We do have a second Stalker coming out just in time to deal with these units. And the Force Oracle is out.
Yeah, I skipped his gateway unit for quite a long time, so if those units had actually just gone across the map instead of dealing with the pylon, I could have done a lot here, but okay, here we go. Ice going to be jumping in here, losing quite a bit of the DPS on the Oracle, but that's because he is distracted across the map here by the Hellion and the Reapers, and these could get a lot of damage.
Oh, exactly. One of these Reapers is going to be going down, but the Hellion does stand strong. A lot of splash damage is being dealt here to the probes. Even though Roselia is losing a lot across the map, it looks like Ice is out of energy. Up.
All right, and the Reaper Hellion has done far more damage than the Oracle already.
Yeah, but now we have a second Oracle joining the fray. We do have a Cyclone, and we will save the lock-on for that second Oracle.
Yeah, really good stuff there. Would have been easy to just A move, and he would have locked onto the one that had used up its energy. Or
hello? Sure.
I'm here.
Oh, you're back, Pop. You're back. Oh.
Yeah.
Where did you go?
Yeah. I think you might have lost internet.
Oh, okay. Maybe. Yeah, just like that, you know, great use of that lock-on or the manual lock-on from Roselia to be able to shut down that Oracle, both Oracles really, and he does finally come across that proxy. We'll be able to depower it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Roselia going for a pretty aggressive follow-up. He's going to be going for a medevac straight away. I really like this as well. Unfortunately, he hasn't left anything at home to defend, and by showing his units taking out the pylon, Ice is going to know that as well. So opportunistically, he's going to be coming in here. A little bit of anti-micro there, missing a lot of the shots because he was chasing after the far SCV, unfortunately. So we'll only get 4, but that's pretty good damage, including the lost mining time.
Yeah, lost mine time. We have 11 SCVs in total going down to the 2 Oracles, but likewise, 10 probes went down as well. So Roselia was able to deal some equalizing damage, and now we have the map control. We're moving out across the map. We have Marines, we have Medevacs, as well as that Cyclone. Is that enough to overpower these 4 Stalkers, though?
Yes.
Oh.
Stalkers are really bad. But we do have Charge on the way, which I really like for Ice as well. He does need to get up into this kind of unit composition that can just completely crush a push, but Roselia is hitting right before that can happen, and he might just win the game here, honestly.
It's very possible. Unfortunately, no shield battery at the natural, no overcharge as well. Without any shield batteries, we just don't have that typical defender's advantage that we do have from the Protoss. He does go for another defensive warping back at home, but more reinforcements do show up.
Yeah, big Warpian of Stalkers here. Roselia doing some nice micro as well, trying to dodge out the Stalkers that might have been focusing the Cyclone, but Ice instead goes for the medevac. That's really nice there. Takes some Marines down as well, so this is a solid defense, but he loses 16 probes, and we actually have a surprisingly even game off the back of that.
Yeah, the worker counts do even up overall. It did cost Ice the entire mineral line though, so it is going to set him behind economically, and with the help of these mules, Roselia is going to be in a bit of a better position. Behind this, we do have our 3-1-1 setup. Stim is on the horizon, and he just has to survive this counterattack as, he's only got Vanilla Marines to defend.
Yeah, it should be fine. This isn't the best idea from Ice without Blink. He is going to be paying for it, losing 2 of those Stalkers.
Yeah, 2 Stalkers do go down. The Marauder show up just in time as well, and from here, Roselia is safe and sound on 2 bases. He's even getting into a Raven as well.
Okay, do we have a robo for Ice? I don't think we do, because I was going to say, if we could get the economy back up, which he has, and just pull off gas, which he also has, we could have a bit of a Diego toss situation going on here, because Charge is finished, Stim is still a long ways off. I think if Ice committed really hard to this, he could get something done here.
Yeah, we'll see if he can. The boys are being pulled. The tanks are on siege as well. The Zealots are going to be able to get on top of some of them. The one tank on the ramp does get caught out. And is it going to be enough to break on through? It looks like the Zealots are getting a lot of damage done, actually.
Yeah, the choke that Roselia made there to repair the tanks was really beautiful, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I mean, this timing was so clean. Roselia was very committed with his push, missed a bit of production behind it as well, and because of that, Ice has just found the perfect timing to go for this attack. He does need to be careful not to overcommit until he has a way to break that depot or circumvent it, though.
Yeah, exactly. We do see a scan across the map. Roselia trying to get an eye on what has been going on here, and now he's natural is completely forward. He's stuck on only 1 base.
Yeah, and we're having a Void Ray being built. He repowered the Stargate. I really like this. A Void Ray is going to be a great way to bust through any potential wall. But well, it looks like Ice might not have been looking at his units here. Doesn't take the best fight, but I think Roselia's pulled the trigger on this a bit too early.
Yeah, exactly. The Raven goes down. That wasn't the best trade from the Marines or the Marauders either. As you were saying, Void Rays are now in the mix to just help shut down some of the other anti-air, maybe even focus on the tank on the high ground as well. It is definitely possible as the tank has arrived, but there's only one of them.
Yeah, the Void Ray means that we can break the depot. It looks like he's going to be going for the tank instead. So tank does go down. I think now we want to focus the depots, but looks like they're going to go down anyway. The Zealot's going to be getting on top of the Marauders.
Yeah, exactly. The boys have to be pulled once again. The main base has been broken. We don't really have too many gateway units remaining, though. It looks like Roselia is going to be able to force this back once again, but we have more Zealots behind this.
Yeah, a little bit inefficient from Ice. Didn't have the Void Ray joining the fight. It was just kind of DPSing down that racks to half health, but now it is joining in, and there's some good micro coming out from Roselia, but these Zealots are getting on top of everything. The numbers just aren't there for the Terran, and Ice takes game 1.
GG, well played. Ice had a window. He had the opportunity, as you were saying, to go for that big counter attack, and he was able to just barely pull it off. He was able to catch 2 tanks on siege as well. Not the best SimCity, and he's tying it up 1-1.
All right, good stuff. And I forgot to mention as well, I believe Ice played against Roselia earlier in the bracket, and Roselia won that one 2-0. So they have played today.
Yeah, they did play earlier in the day. Unfortunately, we did miss that match on the broadcast, so we weren't able to see that. But that does mean that Roselia now has some experience with Ice. But likewise, we can say the same about Ice as well. He's experienced with Roselia, so yeah, is maybe aware that I would imagine Roselia has a stronger mid to late game, and Ice is going to be doing everything he can to stop that from happening.
Yeah, this is a really cool build by Ice as well. I like the idea of going for the proxy Stargate, and I think next game, if he wants to mix it up, he could go for something like a Zealot all in, or maybe a Blink all in, or even something like a proxy Robo could be fun.
We got options. We have options. And as we get into our next game, a massive shout out to Fernando in the chat for resubscribing for 29 months. That's a lot of months, papi. We appreciate the support. So much support for such a long time. Gracias, Fernando, because it's been around since almost the beginning. Thank you. Thank you. As we're going to be getting into game number 3, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ancient Cistern, we have the Australian Protoss player representing Clan Axis. It is Ice.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. We're now tied up 1-1 with this upper bracket advantage. This is full outer Roselia.
Boy, here we go. So as we get into this, you said you wanted a proxy Robo?
Yeah. This kind of looks like a proxy gate, though.
Yeah, we'll see how this does turn out. I would like to see some DTs at some point. That's what I want to see. But we'll see kind of where we go with this. I don't know if Ice is really one to go for the Diego special, the 8-gate charge all in. I do like, though, that as we're kind of like casting and being a little bit more familiar with these players, I do appreciate that like Diego has left his impression on us, and you know, whenever we think of that, we're going to think of those 8 gates and Terran's crying.
Yeah.
It's nice.
That's crazy. It's actually crazy. But Roselia is going to be playing a bit of a mind game here. So he's gone for a fast wall off, which makes it look like double gas. But he's actually going for a fast expand build. So we saw Mara doing this sort of the other day. Just going for a bit of build-in efficiency to play a mind game. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. He's just going to be keeping Ice in the dark as to what Roselia is up to, and he's going to be able to get that CC on the high ground behind this as well. This time, Ice, he does keep his probe active on the map, is rallied, is actually looking and scouting the edges even, maybe a little bit paranoid as to what could be going on. So, yeah, not going for a proxy of his own.
Yeah, it makes sense. This kind of fast wall off can be for a proxy build, whether that's like a proxy factory or a proxy second racks. I think it is a good idea just to scout around, try to see if there's anything on the map. I don't know if you have to scout this far out. If there's a proxy halfway across the map, I don't think you really care.
True. Yeah, definitely. It's just, you know, Ice maybe has some bad experiences here. Could even be because of the last series
he's been
as
hurt
well.
for sure, yeah.
Yeah. This is
Yeah, he's playing very safe. He's going for a robo as well, and once again, his gateway unit's quite late, so something's gone a bit wrong with the build here and there.
Yeah, and as a result, a lot of these workers are deep in the yellow and orange. The Reaper will finally go down, but not before killing 2 probes and a lot of lost mining time.
Yeah, that's a very good Reaper there. Always happy to get that much damage as behind this. The Robo is going to be able to keep Ice pretty safe. He can, get a fast observer if in case he's worried about cloak mines or anything like that. He can get an immortal as well if he thinks it's going to be a one base all in. So it does keep you safe from a lot of different things, but it also puts you pretty far behind in Turk. So I think from here, it'd be pretty cool to see him maybe look to be aggressive with Stalkers and a Prism.
He definitely can flex his aggression with those Stalkers, as he is getting his gateway count up and running. We can also try to be a little bit greedy and rush into something like Colossus Tech as well with a faster Robotics Bay. We'll see what Ice does want to go for, especially because we are on Ancient Sister and a bit of a larger map. He could try and get away with maybe a little bit of greed.
Yeah, for sure. As we do have, looks like a kind of like an anti-Stargate setup coming out from Roselia, or maybe he did see the factory and he's worried about like a Mortal Prism attack or something like that. The units he's building make me think that he's a bit worried about what's coming his way now.
Yeah, looking at his vision, he did see the Robo as it was being built, but I don't know if he clicked on it. So I'm not too sure kind of what information he's working with. Regardless, as you were saying, he is kind of very paranoid and scared of what could be coming in, so he's getting ready for an Oracle or a Prism to go into the main base. Likewise, behind this, Ice is rushing into that robotic space, so he will have fast access to something like Colossi or even Disruptors.
Yeah, this looks to me like it's going to be a Disruptor drop, but we'll see.
Exactly. You know, it's hard to sometimes read what a player like Ice is doing because sometimes they don't even know what they're doing. They're just off the cuff, Papi, off the cuff. As Observer does get spotted, so nice scan there from Roselia. Does shut it down.
That Observer died so hard. Like a Cyclone and a Viking.
Yeah.
Could kill like 3 Prisms.
It was a bit overkill for one Observer, but Roselia did shut it down in the end. Behind this,
Yeah,
ooh. Disruptor.
You don't want them watching you.
It's true. He doesn't want you to watch, Papi.
Okay, so Disruptor and Charge at the same time means that this game's going to be funny. I don't know who's going to win, but it's going to be funny.
Yeah, this
We're
is
either going to see a lot of Terran units die, or we're going to see a lot of Zealots die to a Nova.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to say that we're going to see a lot of Zealots and Marines die to these Novas.
I think so, yeah.
It's going to be a mix of both. Yeah, as you were saying, typically Charge is not something that gels too well with Purification Novas, or it can, but it does require a lot of babysitting, as you can imagine, right? Like, you do have to be very careful with how your Zealots do rush in, and, you know, you can have some hold position micro with that as well. You do have to, have a lot of babysitting involved with your units. Otherwise, things can get out of hand really quickly. Oh, he's doing what you
And
said.
here it is.
Yeah.
It's a Saffron Disruptor.
You called it.
Because that Saffron does it as well, too.
Yeah,
He puts the Observer bang in the middle. Because normally you put it like over on the Overlord pillar or in the little like foliage between the main and the natural down to the south there. And those are like where Terrans normally look, but no one really puts it straight in the middle there just because you can usually do that with a unit. Like, you don't really need to.
Yeah.
So it's really weird to look for, and it can be really effective. I can see this working.
Yeah, exactly. As Ice is going to be keeping his eyes on the map like a hawk, looking for any kind of move out and looking for a cheeky Nova going off as well, just randomly crashing with the army of Roselia. So he does have to be very careful with how he maneuvers. Just see Roselia just trying to scan. He actually hasn't seen the third base location yet. Just trying to keep tabs on what Ice is up to.
That Marine might have seen the Disruptor though. That would be really big for Roselia if he knows that he has to look out for a disruptor when he's leaving his base.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see if he does catch wind of this. Do you have the Viking moving out? As the Viking moves out, Ice sees it, so he rotates around to avoid the Viking as well. Oh my god.
Yeah. I love it. And there we go. Roselia does find the third base with that extra scan. I did see he was trying to send a Marine out. I think that's generally going to be the safer way to find it. But oh, here we go. This is the moment. This is when it can all happen. Oh no! No, not like this.
The disable was too late.
So
yeah.
The Raven was on the same control group as the army, so he went forward with the Raven to get the disable, and that brought the army forward into the Nova, and the disable didn't land anyway. Okay, it's gonna be a great fight. Let's go.
Let's go. But I mean, Roselia still has a pretty formidable army, to be fair, but he did take a massive Nova to the face. At the same time, Zelarame is rushing on in as Roselia moves out, and this is beautifully timed for Ice.
Yeah, really nice timing. This is great for Ice, and he just needs to delay here. I don't think he wants to fight when the tanks are in such an amazing position. He just wants to sit back, make sure all his units are on hold position out of the way, and wait for the Terran to push into him. Ideally, if he could catch an unsiege, that would be great, but we do have 5 tanks now.
We do have a lot of tanks available for Roselia. Looks like Roselia is actually turning around, turning back home even. Bold move. I mean, we do have a third base, I guess, but he wants to try and recover economically instead.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how you win this game if you don't commit to this tank push.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, Roselia, he's got less than half the worker count of Ice right now. Is maybe not feeling confident about pushing into all of those disruptors, but we need to see a fight. We need a big engagement. He does have a lot of energy on this Raven. Like, he can make some magic happen here.
Yeah, I don't mind the position that he's taken up here, especially if Ice decides to push into him. Ice has a giant army. But really also, he doesn't have upgrades.
We don't need upgrades where we're going, mate.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, disruptors don't need upgrades, do they?
It's true. We have 40 zealots available here for Ice. He's going to be looking to collapse on this army. He takes a couple of tank shots to the face, and as you were saying, this is kind of best case scenario for Roselia. I think we were both wanting him to take a fight, and it looks like the fight may come to him instead.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 5 tanks here. If Ice fights into this, and there's 5 tanks, and Ice doesn't have upgrades coming either, this could turn into a game that Roselia can win. If this army takes a really inefficient fight, especially.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, it looks like Roselia is getting ready for a counterattack with this drop. Maybe as Ice moves in, and he does want to try and collapse some of these tanks.
Yeah, the tanks are completely exposed, so they're going to be going down to the Zealots here, and that was Roselia's win condition here. Were those tanks taking a really good fight? He is still doing some fantastic stutter step, and an anti-armor missile here would be really nice, but I think without those tanks, the Archons are going to be a real problem.
They really are, and the Novas are just going to be zoning away the army for the time being. We have 2 more Novas left in the chamber. They're going to be going off one after the other. Good disable on one of them. The other does shave off some of the army, but it looks like there is enough bio. Oof.
Yeah, 1 Nova is going to be left, but the micro from Roselia has been really good. Great starter step. The Viking's going to be tanking at the front as well, so he is going to be cleaning this all up.
Yeah, at the same time across the map, that 1 double drop is doing so much damage. It looks like the third base has been broken. The workers are falling left and right. Ice was so committed with his push. He does go for a Zealot warp into the main, but the army is here and waiting for it.
Yeah, great reactions and multitask from Roselia here.
Yeah, it really is. As he does drop into the main base, Zealots are not enough to clean this up. The Stalkers are going down as well. He's actually even going to be able to try and focus down some of these robos, but he is forced to pick up.
Yeah, it's kind of tricking my eyes just how well these units are trading, but 1-1 bio against 0-0 gateway units, it's not pretty.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you don't quite see often, Protoss players with no upgrades, and that does kind of play its part here in these engagements. We do still have a couple of Zealots here in the main base and warping in some High Templar across the map as well to morph into Archons. Bold move here, but what do we have at home to defend?
Nice, yeah. Yeah, nothing. And pretty much Roselia can lose his entire main, and I think he's still going to be okay here as long as he doesn't take a big disruptor shot.
Oh my god.
Oh. Okay, it's still fight anyway, but that was a big disruptor.
Yeah, that was. He does take a big Nova to the face. The main base, the friendly fire. Okay, not too much friendly fire, but the mines are going to be able to clean up those Zealots at the same time. Roselia, he just keeps on pushing in.
Oh no.
Oh no.
SCV is fighting Archons, not like this.
Not
like this.
No. Every single SCV is going to be going down to the Archons, but Roselia is still committed to the push. Another that goes off and will get another connection.
Almost. Okay, Roselia is down to 4 SCVs, and Ice could absolutely be winning this game. This is an insane base trade that's going on here. Looks like the Nexus is going to be going down. The reaction a little bit slow from Icer. He just wants to give it up, and I think he should be able to hold the high ground here, especially with that Nova.
Yeah, with that one disruptor, he can defend. At the same time, the natural is completely compromised for Roselia. We have 1 base versus 1 base, but Roselia doesn't have workers, as you were saying. He's only down to 3 SCVs.
Yeah, he does have a second CC over there, but he doesn't have enough money to make an orbital, so it's not really going to matter too much. Looks like he is going to be cleaning this up. Oh, the split. That was nice.
I'm really concerned about the friendly fire party, as we do see Ice rushing across the map.
Oh, yeah.
Looking to try to catch this army as well. The mines are going to be unburrowing. It looks like all the shots did end up going off here. Ice has to be very careful with his engagement. This Nova is going to be so important for him.
Yeah, a few Marines going to be cut off, but nice micro from Roselia. Picks that one up, and we have a pretty weird situation. I think backing off is the good decision here.
Yeah.
Wait, does he have a storm?
God,
no.
Okay. He's got some feedbacks. He can pretend to storm, Pappy. He can threaten the army. As here we go. We do have a stim. Nova's going to be going off, and it will connect. Only getting a couple of units in the end. Boy, as the army just push on forward.
Yeah, Roselia's looking to bait this army over the mines. Looks like Ice is, knows about them now, so would like to see a Nova maybe going towards those if he... Oh, this is nice by Roselia. Brings them forward. Splits them too. Very nice.
Brings them forward. Does split them as well. We do have 1 Nova available here for Ice. He is long distance mining. He has not taken another base. Oh my god.
Oh, that was scary. We do have a mass Archon army now for Ice, and this is a really good choice. There's no way that the Terran's going to be able to get up into Ghost, so it's going to be very efficient. As long as he doesn't eat mines. I mean, mines... Did you know mines do bonus damage to shields?
Oh my god. That's crazy, Pappy. I mean, we saw one mine shot go off earlier and almost take down a full Archon as well, so... There's a lot of potential in these mines, as you were saying. It looks like Ice, despite having that disruptor, he doesn't try to go for the Nova. He's going to be backing off. He's going to be taking an expansion instead. And yeah, we're going to be settling down here as both players get up and running on 2 bases.
Yeah, it's just a normal TVP. What do you mean?
Yeah. Oh. We have a 4 Marine drop, just looking to pick up whatever it can. Maybe even a pylon here or there, but Ice is pushing out once again for a second time. Does have a probe as well to bait out a mine shot or just throw down a proxy pylon. Oh, he wants the mine shot.
I like it. He's not going to know how many mines there are. He knows there's at least 2, but... Oh, he just leaves. That's so rude.
The 4 Marine drop actually does a lot of damage. 9 probes go down. Just like that, the worker counts have evened up.
They were just like, okay, we need someone to volunteer. We have a minefield coming up and our entire army is going through. Someone's going to have to sacrifice themselves from the cause. And the probe goes, you know what?
I'll do it.
I've lived a good life, but I want to protect the cause. I mean, the Protoss, I've grown up here all my life. It means everything to me. Like, I really want the Protoss to live on. So I'm going to do it. And he walks up, the mine targets him, and he looks back to see the army, and the army's not there. He's like, no.
He turns around and he sees the army. My mind. He sees the army turn around and
just leave.
Just leave. He hears them like muttering to themselves, I can't believe you fell for that. Oh my god.
Like, we could have done this whole time.
But here we go. The army is pushing forward. We're bypassing the Widow Mines, by the way, as Ice sees everything with that Observer.
Yeah, not often you see an Observer sitting on top of 4 Widow Mines here. The scan is going to just miss it. Oh, he goes for it. He goes for it.
Oh, he does.
Oh, that was Chad. I love it.
He stims forward. He does get the Disruptor just in time. An Archon is going to be going down as the army is stimming on forward, and Ice is on the run. Oh, my God.
Oh, the split was not quite there. It was like 50% correct. That's not good enough.
It's not good enough, Pappy, as the army goes down. The missed rally!
This is angry bio.
Very angry.
It's gonna get the Archon too.
Yeah, the Archon is gonna
Oh,
be.
almost.
No! Oh, that's it.
Oh. At least they died together.
There's one Marine left in that medevac. One Marine survived.
It's like, get me back in there.
Get me out of here! Oh. Take me back. Why are we
It's like
all
I
here?
wasn't done. I was repairing the inside of that medevac. I need to stay in there.
GG gets called, and Ice takes a 2-1 lead in this series after a wild base trade. So much chaos, so much pandemonium all over the map. And yeah, a lot of it did come down to those disruptors. Oh.
I'm watching the probe on the stream again. The army turns around like immediately as the probe starts going towards the mines. They just like drop him off and then just see you.
Smooch, papi, smooch. Oh. Feels bad, man. Feels bad as we are going to be getting ready for our next game, and Ice is one game away from becoming this Rice Cup champion. He is so close from claiming that bowl for himself. That bowl of rice. Oh.
You get a bowl of rice if you win.
You better.
I think Rise should have to go to Ice's house, bring him a bowl of rice.
Yeah. With an egg on it as well. You need the egg.
In this economy?
Oh god, but yeah, what a wild turn of events there. In the end, as you were saying, it did come down to the disruptors. We saw a lot of cheeky novas going off and a lot of big connections as well. It was too much.
I think it came down to the probe. I mean, once Roselia realized that he was dealing with a madman,
Yeah.
the spirit to win is just gone. As I was spotting in the top right hand corner of the map for Axis. Not anything else. It's Ice.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Royal Blood, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Terran player representing Clan Louder down in this series, one game away from losing it all. Has to bring it back here and now. It is Roselia.
So, the way that Roselia can get himself back in this game mentally is by walking up to the front of Ice's base, bringing an SEV, and just blasting the SEV in the back and then leaving.
It's the only way, Papi. It's the only way. Without that, I don't know how you recover. I think it's impossible.
He has to show him who he's dealing with here.
Yeah. He needs to meet his insanity with his own. He is insane.
Maybe he'll just start doing it in all of his ladder games. Like, this is Jimmy. Start of every game, we kill Jimmy.
Say hi, Jimmy. Bam.
Hi, Jimmy. Blah.
Oh god. Jimmy, no.
Like,
Why?
no, it's fine. It's normal. He likes it.
he likes it, Bob. He likes it. Don't worry about it.
He thinks he's doing something good for the cause. Just don't tell him.
Don't tell him that it was meaningless and he died for nothing. Oh. Feels probe, man.
As oh yeah. We do see Roselia getting a little bit distracted by fighting this probe. Hasn't gone for a scout here, so he'll have to go for the Reaper first scout. And lucky for him, there's no proxy or anything weird like that happening this game. And he's going to be going for a very standard opener, so happy to see him just playing it super standard here.
Yeah, just a Rax expands, no shenanigans by keeping the CC hidden in the main or anything like that, but you have the bunker on the way, so everything is as standard as it could be. Meanwhile, Ice is going for a pretty similar opener as the previous game, is going to be going for that Robo first.
Yeah, this time it's not a double gas, and he didn't get kept out of scouting, so this time he's just doing it because he wants to do it.
Yeah.
So I guess he might be going for, like, maybe this is the game that he goes for the disruptor drop, or maybe he just, you know, thinks back to that last game and, oh my, maybe he just thinks back to that last game and it's like, yeah, like the disruptors worked out really well, let's do that again.
I mean, you say maybe this game he's doing it because he wants to do it. I think he wanted to do it every game. I think I think this may just be
Yeah, I
his,
think so.
I think this is his go-to. Yeah.
He forgot Warp Gate as well. That's okay.
Yeah, so we don't need no.
It happens.
Disruptors don't need to be warped in. It's fine. It's fine.
That is true.
Yeah.
Playing that Roddy Mac. Should be a Stargate.
But there we go. The Bay is on the way for those infamous disruptors, which Ice was using to great effect in the previous game, and is going to be wanting to do so again here in game number 4.
Yeah, it's pretty cool though. Looks like we're gearing up for either a Hellion drop or a Marine drop with Hellions running into the natural. There's a lot of different options for multi-prong here. It's a bit of an old school build that's been coming back into the meta recently. I've seen Clem doing it quite a bit.
Yeah, it's really cool to see. There's a lot of potential here. I think Roselia does have really good multitasking, was flexing it in some of the previous series, especially against Zerg, and I'd love to see it here against Ice as well. He wasn't really given the opportunity to do so, or like when he did, like he kind of forced the base trade, right? So I think he is aware of his strengths, is aware of maybe Ice's weaknesses, and he's going for a Hellion drop.
Yeah, we saw this yesterday. Max Pack's first Clem.
Yes.
Was that yesterday?
Yeah. Yeah, WTL.
Oh yeah, World Team League. Yeah. I just haven't been sleeping. All the days are blurring into one.
It's all been
Bloody Diablo.
Diablo, papi. As we do see the observer does get picked off.
Got sharp eyes.
He's wearing his glasses, papi. He's wearing.
Oh, he is doing the disruptor roll this time.
Yeah, this time we do have Prism Speed finishing up at the same time. The Hellies do dive into the middle line as well. What is there at home to defend? We do go for a haphazard split up.
Yeah, I don't think any probes have gone down. Okay, 2 probes have gone down. Definitely could have been a lot more, and the split's pretty good for Ice as well. That was very cute too. He drops one of those probes into the gas there, and oh yeah, a lot of yellow probes there. That's always a bit sad.
Yeah, 5 probes go down in the end, which was good, don't get us wrong. But I'm sure there was so much more potential for damage as well, as Roselia does at least keep that medevac alive.
Look at the macro though. Look at that production tab. Poor yo.
We got Hellions, Marines, Marauders, medevac, stim, everything we need. But what is all of this in the face of one blue ball?
Oh. He has so many Hellions. I would actually love him to do Hellbat drops. That'd be sick.
He hasn't stopped Hellion production. It's crazy as Nova comes in. No!
The pull was so good, but honestly, sometimes it's better not to pull. You're gonna lose that many SCVs anyway, and now you lost mining time as well. I think actually a lot of the time, the best move is to just not pull.
It sometimes that can be the case. Sometimes that can just be better, as 5 workers, and I believe a mule as well, did go down. At the same time, though, we do have a second Hellion drop diving into the main.
Oh my god, that's so cool. Roselia is so cool.
And here we go. The probes, there's no reaction, Papi. We are going for a warp in instead, but already 7 probes have gone down. The Zelt's going to be holding the line, but charge isn't done, and nothing shoots up.
Big fan. Big fan. That was the follow-up Hellion drop.
Yeah,
I love it.
8 workers so far. Meanwhile, it looks like another Nova went off, and we got another 5 SCVs, and yo, Ice is looking for another. Oh my god.
No. Oh. Keep him out.
Thankfully, we do lift it up, and then we go. The Prism goes down as well. We force a recall. We land the Vikings.
I never noticed that Vikings put little bullet casings on the ground. That's cute. But yeah, you were saying it before. Roselia has really good multitasking. If he can use that against Ice, he could go really well with that. And I think we've seen that this game. But Ice is going for a massive 2-base all-in, and oh no, if Roselia moves out into this, I think he could definitely be losing here. I think if he stayed back home, he would be okay. But actually, the Hellions are going to spot it early. That's great.
Yeah. Thankfully, he does spot it early. He doesn't just walk face first into a Colossi. Actually, Roselia is going to continue to push. He wants the fight. He wants to jump into this.
Oh, no. Okay, he's looking.
He's looking, Papi. He's looking. He does avoid the first Nova. We do have eyes on the army itself with that Observer, and here we go, pushing on in. We do have that Colossi.
I thought he was going to pick up the Zealots. That would have been cute.
Yeah, the Prism is very low. The Prism does go down. It does tank a couple of shots for the Colossi, but the Vikings are going ham on this, and the Stalkers are not quite in position to stop them. They do move forward to zone away those Vikings.
Oh my damn. They're going ham.
Oh, he wants it.
Okay, Roselia is looking. Roselia is pretty fast.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be alright there. He's starting to make mines as well. Gets that third CC and the extra Raxes, so he is going into his transition, which is, yeah, pretty ideal here. I mean, as long as he doesn't lose all of his army all at once. The Protoss is on 2 bases, so he should be in a great spot.
Yeah, exactly. We do see Ice getting a third behind this, but a very late third. On top of that, the robot production has been stuck rebuilding prisms. This is the 3rd prism right now. This could be the 3rd disruptor. Like, we've been really lacking in these high-tech units here from Ice, just forced to rebuild the prism time and time again.
Yeah, there's the Templar Archives. I was about to ask for that just because he is floating a lot of gas there, so that's a good way to spend it. So it looks like he's recognized that as well.
Yeah, exactly. With that, he can get to High Templar and get into Archons as well. We do see that one disruptor looking to find its way on this army. Roselia, his macro, though, so good, so crisp, moving forward with his mines, getting ready to engage.
Yeah, pokes forward with the Hellion for a little bit of a scout, the same way that Ice was poking forward with the Zealot for the scout, and with that, he's not really going to be caught out by anything unexpected. I really like the way that he's set up here, and I think from here, he just needs to keep calm and land his third and macro up.
Yeah, exactly. He does go for the scan as well. He's going to be picking off some of these Zealots. Again, the army of Ice just getting picked apart time and time again. We do have a Prism getting F2 to the main army, but hopefully does go back towards the main.
Oh, he sees it. Nice. Yeah, he sees it, brings it back. Roselia has an insane concave here. And, oh, that was very risky, but it pays off.
Yeah, he juked back towards the Nova. Meanwhile, we do have a massive warp in into the main base. Roselia does have eyes on this. He does react with his army.
Yeah, really good timing on this, but the Prism is going to be going down to the Vikings, and the Zealot's actually not getting that much. It was a good SCV pool here.
Yeah, 5 SCVs do go down. Well, they do come back a little bit prematurely, and a couple more are going to be going down.
It's like you get sent home from work early because there's going to be builders. And then you come back to work the next day and it's on fire.
Not like
They're like, work or you're fired.
Good. Well, with that, a lot of work. 20 SCVs went down. I looked away for a moment. I saw 11. I thought, okay, we're done. But no, Roselia loses almost everything. He's down to only 19 SCVs. He's pretty all in.
Yeah, it's actually a shockingly brutal mistake in the end. He was in a really good spot, and now just because of sending those SCVs back early to the burning building, he's in quite a lot of trouble.
Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble right now. The Nova's going to be going off. He is not able to focus it down in time.
Yeah, he's not, so that's going to be a lot of the army going down. This is a beautiful concave, though, and he's just going to be churning through all of the army here. I love this. He does need to be careful that he's not going to be steaming into another giant Nova, but no, he is going to be backing off away from there, and the micro of Roselia, once again, is fantastic.
Yeah, no shield battery, no overcharge. The army of Ice is going to be going down. He has a massive bank, but he has not, or he has been missing some warpins. GG gets called, and Roselia ties it up 2-2.
Yeah, another wild game. These players have some fun games. I think kind of the dichotomy of Roselia having that great multitask, really nice macro as well, and Ice having some very creative ways to set up engagements in the middle of the map is making for pretty cool games.
Yeah, exactly. Very back and forth. Even that last game, even though we saw Roselia with better army control and better engagements overall because of the harassment, because of the timing of these Zealot warpins and the Zealot run-bys, Roselia was very all in and the pressure was on him to get damage done. Oh boy. And thankfully, Roselia does it and we have an ace match. We're going all the way to game number 5.
All right, game number 5. I kind of want to see Neo-Humanity. I just have this evil thing inside me that wants to see an entire Terran army get novaed in the slow zone. I don't know why. I want it.
Let's go, Paku. Let's go. Oh, boy. All right. Why do you hate Terran so much?
I don't know. Some days you want to see your Terran brethren succeed, and some days you just want to see them suffer the same way that you suffered.
I was about to say you want to feel validated in your failings, and you want to be like, yeah, all of you die. Just like
it's like watching Clem yesterday and not being able to do anything about the disruptors. It's like, yeah, it sucks and it's painful, but at least I know that like there's nothing I could be doing better.
You're an animal. Oh god, whenever I think of Clem versus MaxPax, in my mind, I'm gonna think of Clem being stun locked, where he's just stuck in just a loop of just being chased back and forth by Novas, and he can't do anything about it. And the Novas get damage over time. Like they're killing him, Papi. They're killing him.
That is what happens a lot of the time when they play against each other. It's gross. Yeah. It's gross either way. It's gross when Clem wins as well. He does some Terran stuff.
That was my first time seeing that dynamic between Clem and MaxPax, and I liked it. I liked it. But I don't want to see more of it. I'm done. One and done.
I remember a game ages ago on 2K Atmospheres where Clem was ahead the entire game, and then at one point there's like this low ground in the middle of all the bases, just kind of outside the natural on that map.
Yeah.
And he just had his whole army sitting there, and MaxPax just fires a whole bunch of disruptors down the hill. And just hits everything, and Clem responds just a tiny bit late, and game's just over. That's what I remember.
Yeah.
You don't forget those things.
Smooch, Papi, smooch. That's like earlier today. Earlier today I was casting Dark versus Classic on Neo Humanity. And Dark was absolutely outplaying Classic. He had Lings in the main, Lings in the natural, Baneling Rumbais at the third, Baneling Rumbais at the fourth. Classic was going for Skytoss, and Dark had gone in between the bases with his Corruptors, and he was sniping carriers as well. He was doing everything beautifully. And then he threw away all of his Corruptors, killing like 3 carriers, and obviously he lost all of his Ling Bane. And then Classic just counterattacks, and he wins like in like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
It's a
PvZ moment right there.
Yeah. Dark is like remaxing on his Corruptors and his Ling Bane and his Roaches, and it's all in production, so he just dies.
It's over.
It's over.
Alright, speaking of over, we had the last game here. It is on Neo Humanity as well. And it's spawning in the bottom right hand corner for Axis. This is Ice. Oh, I see how you did it now. Like Axis and Ice.
Yeah.
That's an easy mistake to make.
Where do you think it came from? You're like...
No, I know. I thought you just misspoke Axis though. I didn't realize how much it throws you off having Ice there as well.
Yeah.
That's fair.
It's all set up to make you fail.
It is, yeah. It's not really your fault.
As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Neo Humanity, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player representing Clan Louder, fighting back in that last game, forcing the ace match. It is Roselia. It's his fault. It's Ice's fault. Aye. Oh god. So I think we were kind of guessing. We were trying to theorize what Ice would be up to and what more we're gonna be seeing. What do you want to be seeing from Roselia though? Like Ice, I think the kind of obvious choice is for him to kind of continue to do what he's been doing and go for another robo opener into disruptors, whether it's with a drop play or not, we'll see. But yeah, is there kind of a solid way to maybe try to counteract that, especially if you know how your opponent's going to be playing out a game?
Yeah, I guess drop play would be good. I think the way that he played that last game was good. Just going for harassment. I guess he kind of overdid it a bit at some point with the Hellions, but I do think Hellion drop's just a really good idea because he is probably the faster player of the two. So if he can do something that can make use of that, I think that's going to be a good idea.
Do you think, especially considering that we typically delay stuff like Stargate Opener or Blink or anything like that to go for something like a committed mine drop, like with an armory even? Or I know there's going to be a robot for detection, but so maybe not with an armory. But
yeah, not with an armory, just because he's been rushing out an observer every game. But we're going to be seeing something a little bit different. It's going to be a Twilight Council first. I'm feeling DTs.
Yeah, Twilight Council for the first time can only mean one of two things. I'm thinking either DTs or maybe something like a charge all-in. We'll see what Ice has up his sleeve, as he does have a proxy pylon being set up.
Yeah, SDTs, 100%. He's going to walk them in from here.
Let's go, Papi. Let's go. With the Twilight Council finishing up, we should be able to set up a Dark Shrine as well. We're going to need a proxy gateway to make sure we can warp in aggressively across the map. And there it is. There's the Dark Shrine.
It's a T-ball build.
True. Is this a T-ball build?
Yeah, isn't it?
Okay. Yeah, T-ball was like the fastest DTs.
Let's walk him in
the West. Yeah.
Yeah.
Waddle him in. Is it the T-ball build or is it the Ice build?
Yeah, it's a T-ball build. I'm sticking to my guns. Oh. I didn't even notice Roselia's going for a one base all in. That sucks for Roselia. This is pretty much a hard counter.
Yeah, so with only one orbital, that means we're going to have very limited scans available for Roselia. Very limited scans indeed, and we aren't set up to go into a Raven either.
Yeah, I mean, you can go for a pretty fast switch here once you do work out that it's happening. So it is going to come down to Ice getting as much damage as he can. So it'd be good to see him getting some damage first with the DTs across the map, and then if he can have some defensive DTs as well and just kind of dribble them in one by one into the army and use them to take out the tanks, that's going to be the best way to deal with this. The Liberator is going to be a bit of a problem.
Yeah, Liberator is going to be a problem as we go for a full wall up here at the natural base with these gateways. DTs are about to reveal themselves. They haven't done so yet, as Roselia just show up and does now see the natural.
Yeah, this is kind of crafty from Ice as well, going for the full wall off. That's going to buy him a lot of time.
Really is. As DTs reveal themselves, that we go, the base has been forfeit. We immediately evacuate and send everything the hell out of the main. We're going for the add-on swap. We're going for the Raven.
If the DT sat underneath where the starport was going to land,
True.
It could stop it from landing while taking out the tech lab.
Yeah, that would have been insane. That would have been crazy. We did have one defensive DT available, and it looks like we have a couple more on the way. The DTs are focusing down at that starport, and I think they're going to get this. But only
No, the starport! No! No!
Ah!
Oh, they would have got it! They actually would have got it. They're not going to get it now.
Oh my
Ice,
god.
no!
Oh, he lifts.
Oh, he's going to get it anyway.
Wow. Yeah, because Roselia lifted the CC, he does get that starport. It is now on fire. Meanwhile, we have that one defensive DT back at home, and there is no scans.
Yeah, we need to get that DT on the tanks. Pronto. That's the one.
Presto.
Pronto. Pesto, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I could go some pesto.
Oh, let's go. We do see the tanks start stepping forward here. The CC can't land. There's a DT under it. No.
Everything's on fire.
It's all on fire. We have the double jump going into the main base as we speak. And we're getting a lot of damage done, to be fair, but all we need is a DT in here. We should be fine. DT?
Yeah, I was going to say, honestly, just fight it with the probes, because this is all he's got, the tanks. So health actually matters a lot. Just getting a bit of health off these tanks with the probes is huge.
It really is. Meanwhile, the DTs have left the other side of the map. We just have Roselia just microing his heart out as we speak. Ice's supply blocks actually can't warp into any stalkers, so we can't shut down this drop at all.
Yeah, he's got a lot of money. I'd like to see him throw down a Nexus, but now we're going to have energy for meals, potentially scans as well, and this Liberator is going to do some serious work. Those Stalkers need to get out of the Liberation Zones, and they will, and that might be just about it, but there's still a tank. The tank can micro.
Oh, the tank is going for it. The tank will just barely survive as well. It looks like it will go
he
down.
Got it. Oh my god, and the Stalker almost goes down as well.
Oh no!
Oh, it's going to go down. Yeah, it's going to go down. Oh, it's so close.
It's so close, but the Liberator falls. And with that, there is nothing left for Roselia. He is dead. GG gets called. Ice takes the series 3-2, and he is going to be this week's Rice Cup champion.
Holy crap. That was a crazy game.
Ah! Oh my god. What did we just witness? What just happened?
I don't know. That's wild.
GG, well played. Congratulations to Ice for taking the series 3-2, becoming this week's champion, and claiming that bowl of rice for yourself. GG, congratulations. Shout out to Roselia, but time and time again, it seems to be Protoss that is his bane here. Last week it was Diego. This week it is Ice.
Yeah, it's very, very cheeky, very crafty with his builds, though. Is going to be getting the win today and wins the Rice Cup. And apparently he lives near the Rice, so Jesse can bring him some, bring him a cup of rice.
Bring a cup of rice, yeah, with an egg on it.
Sure, why not?
What do you have against eggs on
Get a
rice?
piece of paper and draw the egg on it.
It's good stuff, Papi. It's good stuff. Oh.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll buy some eggs.
Let's go. Oh god, but yeah, congratulations to Ice. My condolences to Roselia. 2 weeks in a row has reached that second place. Has won a Rice Cup in the past. To be fair, I think it was Rice Cup number 2 that Roselia was a champion. But in the most recent of weeks has been the bridesmaid and not the bride. Oh boy, but a very entertaining finals nonetheless. Very entertaining.
Yeah, the whole thing has been pretty entertaining.
It's been beautiful, man. It's been beautiful. And yeah, with that, thank you so much as well, Asher, for joining me today. I know today's like your day off, but you were able to join me for one series towards the end. And I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you are better for it.
Yeah, of course.
Beautiful. Also,
I learned something. I'm going to go for the double Hellion drop.
you're going to be cool just like Roselia.
Potential.
Yeah. With that as well, massive shout out to Rise in the chat, as he is the organizer and admin of this tournament. He is an Australian Protoss player, aka Jesse, as we were mentioning him a couple of times during the broadcast. And it is thanks to him that this event is possible, as he has a lot of love for the community and a lot of love for some more up and coming StarCraft players as well. So yeah, shout out to Jesse, shout out to Rise for making this happen. We are going to be going on a hiatus with the Rice Cup. I believe the Rice Cup is going to be, you know, on a bit of a break for a little bit, so keep an eye out on the social media, on the Twitters, or on our Twitch channel for when the next Rice Cup does show up.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a really great event, so looking forward to the rest of them.
Oh, Roselia's in the chat.
Oh no.
No,
True.
not like this, Roselia. Oh god, it's okay, Roselia, it's okay. But with that, as we do wrap up this event, and again, this is typically a bi-weekly tournament, but is going to be on a hiatus for a little bit. We're not quite done here for the day. I know we've been casting a lot today. I've been live for the past over 8 hours, and there's something that I would ask of you, Asher. One small little thing.
Oh, I did have something lined up with a friend, and they don't have long, so I might have to go.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so we have some replays to cover. I don't know if you have time for a replay or not. So it's gonna be on up to you, for you to judge. If you have the
No,
time.
I gotta go. Yeah, sorry.
Fair enough. All right, well, I'm gonna be going on a bit of a break. When we return, we still have a couple of replays to go over, but thank you, Asher. Thank you so much for joining me today. I always appreciate it when you can cast. Thank you. Oh.
No worries. Enjoy the replays.
I will definitely.
All right. See ya.
Ciao. Again, if you want to follow Asher, !AsherBro in the chat, you can follow him there on Twitch and Twitter. Links are in the description or in the chat. And he does stream throughout the week as well, whether it's Terran ladder gameplay or sometimes some other games like Diablo, or maybe some point-and-click adventures as well. So make sure you can check him out over on his own Twitch and Twitter. Doesn't tweet too often, but does stream every now and then. So consider supporting him over there. Meanwhile, we have some replays to cast. We have 4 replays available, one from Sounder, one from Babylings, one from Frost as well. So yeah, we do have quite a number of replays. We're going to be going on a bit of a break. We're going to be setting up the overlays and making sure everything is ready for the replay cast, and then the finale of today's broadcast will be upon us. See you soon. See you soon.